Hello. Hello, everybody. How are you? It is I, Trooper SJP, and this is the Academic Foxhole. And I'm going to press some buttons right about now. Just give me a moment because we're in this moment, and I need to. Oh, you're not hearing the sound, but I am. Hold on. Great. Now it's hanging out in the background. But I'm going to mute it because I don't want to hear it right now because I want to chat with you all. Hi. How are you doing? It is I, Trooper SJP. It is Thursday, and we're playing the Disco Elysium. And, better. And, wait for it. You know when you start and you're like, okay, I'm ready to go live, everything is just where it needs to be, and then you realize that you don't actually have everything you need because you don't have, for example, this. Except that now I do have
We're
it.
in the money.
Oh, well, in that case, hi. I have everybody. I've got things. Also, Atomica just donated 100 bits, and I think you know what that means. I think you know. Well, when these things happen, I want to honor those bits, and there are many ways to honor something like this, something so moving, and really. The only proper way to honor the gifting of bits is to return that gift of bits with Ginger Rogers. Ginger Rogers singing this song, We're in the Money, from the film Gold Diggers of 1933, which means Pig Latin. Airway and hey, the anime. Airway and hey, the anime. Iwayat galeat, we have wayat wayat wayags to utiat galeang wayo. Airway and hey, the anime. Either I skays are ani say. Oh man, the ocean pray, ooh yare, ooh three, you was down way young ray, ooh. Iwe every eat ray adlay ansley, of way adbury ansley, ooh, tay day. And we see the anley order, we'll look up the agar in the eye, we're in the money, we're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along. Thank you. Thank you so much for those bits. I I have a lot of things that I want to chat with you about, which is terrible because also game and also I Abigail. Hi. I also need to see what y'all are saying in chat. 2 a.m. Abigail. 2 a.m. Go to sleep. Okay, no, go to sleep, Abigail. Go to sleep. Thank you for the hello. I will see you on Saturday because I'm playing Rain World. By the way, classes have started. I'm playing Rain World. We're in it right now. Uh, this is what I want to say. I know what Tripper needs, but I know I need this stream with all. Oh, I need this stream with all of you lovely people too. Sure, actually. Uh, and if you're not sure, I want a dirty German limerick. I don't think I know many German limericks. Lindy would. You're busy next Wednesday, aren't you? I'm running a one-session playtest of the original 1981 Tales from the Floating Vagabond and wanted to see if you'd have any interest in playing. I'm currently GMing Good Society on Wednesdays, and we probably have one 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 or two sessions max left because when we ended up last time, we were almost done with the visitations. We hadn't finished the visitation. We wanted to wait for Prince's visitation because it was going to be kind of epic. Remember that I knew it was going to be epic. So um, we're doing visitations, and I think everybody's done one visitation except for Prince. So we're going to do that visitation, and then we'll sort of. I probably will not have a second round of visitations actually. So we'll probably do that one last visitation, then move through, and then we'll have our. So either we're going to finish it all next week, or we'll have one more week. So, but the point is that I am spoken for next Wednesday and maybe for the Wednesday after. I do say Rain World. Maybe they're so hard. Theirs gonna be solid. Oh, I want people to fall if they are solid. It'll be good. Go, go, go. Go, go. Don't get insomnia, Abigail. I'm currently gymming a D&D roguelike as we speak, and I'm pretty sure I'm about to TPK. Oh. Hey. That's nice. Max says, I'm going to try to get back into doing one-session games of out-of-print tabletop RPGs to review them for KODT magazine. Again, I'll probably try and run them either each month or every other month. Yeah, I've got some plans that I can't talk about, but I've got plans. And I'm very excited to, and they involve old games, or other games, just games, but I can't do them just yet. I do have a show and tell. If Barontor shows up, let me know, because I wanted to say something that he would be interested in. So, I'm on my quest to look at solo games. And this was a game that was being recommended. And while it is soloable, it is you can also do it without. You can do it non-solo, but it does have a whole solo section. And this is Across
Name game.
1,000 Dead Worlds. Oh, well, I would tell you more about that, but I can't, because
Name
right
game.
now, at this moment, I have to do something else that's actually quite important. And the thing I have to do is the name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name.
Name
the
game.
First letter of the name. I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F or an M will appear. And then I say bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. House of Dreams, House of Dreams, House of Dreams, Bouse of Dreams, Banana Fanta, Faux Fouse of Dreams, Fee, Fi, Mo, Mouse of Dreams. House of Dreams, Krellin, 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 Bobellin, Banana Fanta, Faux Felon, Fee, Fi, Mo, Melon. Krellin the Melon Felon, Baltiel, 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 Banana Fanta, Faux Faltiel, Fee, Fi, Mo, Maltiel. Malted like Starbeam chocolate milk, it's good for your bones. Valtiel. The name game. Woo! Let me just go and block this likely harasser. Excuse me for a moment. Banned. Thank you, everybody. Now I actually need to sing. I need to read out the messages for the thing. House of Dreams did not leave a message. It's fine. It's fine. Krellin says, it's a very nice anniversary for me, and I'm requesting singing, which I know Trooper loves, so very, very much. I do, actually. I just like a good excuse to sing. Just kind of how that is. Also, thank you all of our subs. Thank you for those resubs. This is lovely. Makes me happy. Not for the, hey, what's up with all the bots hanging out on Twitch nowadays? Also, it's September, so all the subs are, I don't know, cheaper, bonus, something like that. Vault the malt. Vaultiel, I am the malted one. Hawkeye says, considering creating an NPC combo of two characters, a Holmes and Watson team up. Trooper, any input on what D&D class Sherlock Holmes would be? Ooh, Sherlock Holmes. I think that Sherlock Holmes is probably a wizard. I don't know what everybody else would think, but I feel like See, Max did the same thing that I did. Max and I think Sherlock Holmes is a wizard because he's clearly studied, little bit like nerdy in his own way. Bit I can imagine living in a tower. Um, Sherlock Holmes. Now, the pushback would be that he should be some kind of rogue because rogues are the ones who are skill based historically. But wizards have things like scrying. And I feel like Sherlock Holmes clearly cheats to solve these missions by scrying in some way. I feel like wizard would be a good choice. A good basic. Gotta have that high int, yeah. There's a rogue subclass devoted to investigation, but a diviner wizard would fit too. Yeah, so I feel like one of those two. Um, and this week, if you give bits 300 more, Twitch will add extra. Oh, that's cool. Nice. Psionicist. Psionicist would also work. Vulpes says Psionicist for Sherlock Holmes, and I would say Psionicist only because AD&D 1E rules, you only get to be a Psionicist, like if you roll a 100 on a percentile die, so it's pretty rare, which could also work for a Sherlock Holmes. Rhett is also an investigator background now. Oh. Oh. Okay, look, so here's the game. I just picked it up. Space game. It's called Across 1,000 Dead Worlds. I just picked it up. It's got pretty cool interior design. It has got, it feels, it's got some cool stuff in there. Nice art. And it has been something that people have been talking about quite a bit on the various Reddits when people are talking about solo games, although it is not a solo game, but it has a whole chapter on soloing. So that it's got some oracles and things like that in there. I thought, oh, there's a whole section on game master emulation. So I thought a lot of people are soloing it. So I thought that might be a nice thing to test out and see what it's like. And it's got like just very cool, right? So I thought it was highly regarded, and I thought it was neat. So I picked it up because obviously it is what I like to do. So that's what I did. It just came in the mail. I'm kind of excited about it. The game is a doorstopper. It is. Wait. There is also an investigator. Oh, there's an investigator. Thank you. Not Rhett. Like Rhett Butler. And also, Watson. What class is Watson? I'm tempted to say cleric. Is my initial temptation. Cause I think that people are like, oh, Watson must be but he's a doctor, right? So he would be a cleric. But I suppose he could be a druid, but he doesn't really feel like a druid to me. I suppose he could be a paladin, but he feels like a cleric to me. Anyway, that's my thought on Watson. Wizard and cleric. That's a lot of dead worlds. Who's traveling the galaxy, killing worlds? This is what I want to know. Max says, okay, working last night's RPG journal, so I'll be in and out in the next hour or so. Lovely. Trying to get my audio less than 2 hours left before the end of the night, but I feel probably won't make it. Ooh, try. Thank you, Max. For modern arcanist alchemy specialization for making own mind-enhancing drugs. I had a lot of thoughts about Dead Worlds. What was the title of that game again? Across 1,000 Dead Worlds. And it is, I wonder where it's from. Oh, I wanted to read this to you because I thought you might appreciate that, all of you folks. So this is the game, 1,000 Dead Worlds. And there's a little note on the bottom about rights and attribution and that kind of thing. And it says, the mechanics and concepts of Across 1,000 Dead Worlds may be reused freely. The text of Across 1,000 Dead Worlds may not be used verbatim. All artists maintain copyright of their work. Which, by the way, is actually sort of what the copyright rules say, but people have... the OGL might convince you otherwise that... yeah, but basically you can't really copyright mechanics that way. So I thought that was kind of cool that they just basically acknowledge it. Sort of like Vincent Baker, who did Apocalypse World. Like, some of them are just like, hey.
Name game.
The name game. Come on, everybody. Traveler. And now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme, Mark Miller, out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F. PB, did you ask me about horror? Or an M will appear. And then I say bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foam. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can rhyme. PB plays inside. PB plays inside, PB plays inside, Bo BB plays inside, banana fan of PB plays inside, fee fi mo me B plays inside. PB plays inside. The name game. Also, let me just go
Name
ban
game.
that person right there. Let's just ban some people who need to be banned. It's cool. Just doing a little bit of banning. They don't need to be here, right? I'm just banning a couple of people that don't need to be here while we are hanging out. Just noting it. House of Dreams. Can you guess what 5e mechanic you live for? 5e. I was just about to give you a 1e mechanic. The 5e mechanic you live for is backgrounds. I'm gonna guess. But they had backgrounds in 3e, right? I'm pretty sure there were backgrounds in 3e. So what is unique to 5e? What did they not have? Advantage, disadvantage was 4e. I'm pretty sure they had backgrounds in. Did they not have Did they have backgrounds? Did they have backgrounds in 3e? They did. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't. Maybe it's backgrounds. Oh my gosh. You know what? Somebody in chat knows. I'm gonna catch up. And please note, there's gonna be singing. The title's gonna be Fading Suns vibes. Yeah. I would do a mastermind rogue for Watson with his skills in medicine and other knowledges. Tomika, that's a good one. PB, it's so good to see you. Wizards released the OGL because they wanted to tamp down on people just fair using their stuff willy-nilly. Yeah, and also they wanted to, if you use the OGL, you basically acknowledge that they have covered over the mechanics, which they don't. So there's like a lot of. They also did the OGL because they knew that making adventures is what makes a game successful, but it also is a loss leader. So they just wanted to outsource their adventures to other companies to make so that they could get bigger, and they did. Yeah, they had a lot. It was a very strategic move. Very strategic move. Is it backgrounds? Because I also quite like backgrounds mechanically. I also like backgrounds mechanically. Babaginator. Okay, Babaginator. You know what this means. Oh, Babaginator. Babaginator, your name starts with a B, which means I'm going to be so excited to sing Name Game to you right now. Real hardcore. I just need that to be said out loud because, in case you didn't know, the Name Game. Come on, everybody. Also, I have something else to tell you, PB. I said, now let's, and also Krellin, because Krellin lives in New Mexico, Arizona, New Mexico, Arizona. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F, or an M will appear. Also, Hector will find this interesting, or maybe none of you will. And then I say boo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. But if the first two letters are ever the same, I drop them both and say the name. I like Bob. Bob drop the B's for Bob or Fred. Fred drop the F's for Red. Or Mary. Mary drop the M's mo airy. That's the only rule that is contrary. Babaginator. Babaginator, Babaginator, Bob Abaginator, a nanofana for Fabaginator, Fee Fi Mo Mabaginator. Babaginator, the name game. Ah. Woo! Yay! Thank you for that gift sub. Thank you so much. So, backgrounds are a 5e thing. Nice, because I like them too. I have another 5e thing that I really like, but I'll tell you in a second. I've been on a journey to find solo horror art teacher. Okay, so you were, right? You were on. So I recommend The Wretched. That's what I recommend. The Wretched was the first of the Wretched and Alone vibe, the Jenga Tower ones. And that one is basically like Alien, where like you're in a, basically the setup is you and your crew were on the ship, and then there was an alien that was murdering you all, murdered everybody. Not you though, you survived, and you survived by blasting the alien out of the airlock and into space, and now you're there, and so everything is safe and everything's great because it's all over. That's all the setup. And then it turns out you hear the alien scrambling around on the hull of your ship, on the outside of your ship. Not great. And so the thing is, your engines are dead because the whole problem, there's it's not great. So you have to try to, the alien's scrambling out there to get you. And you need to try to get those engines started, or maybe put out a distress beacon, and maybe somebody will save you before the alien murders you. Anyhow, I find that's that's a very alien one. I think that one's good. I enjoyed that one very much. I found it very stressful. I liked it. I appreciated it. So The Wretched, I think, is good. It's a sci-fi horror, but I like that one. Oh, sorry. I forgot the most obvious. There are a bunch of solo RPG, solo adventures for Call of Cthulhu. Boom. So that's another one. You could do some Call of Cthulhu solo adventures. They're very fun. I can recommend that. That's good. So that's like super obvious, that one. Thank you. I tried to ban, but my yeah, UI just being weird, right? UI. Not the same way 5e has them. 5e was the first time your background gave you any skills. Hawkeye runs to the workbench to make a new banhammer in case Trooper breaks the curtain with all the use. I know, right? The 2024 made them even better. Oh, interesting. So I wanted to tell you all something, right? It's a show and tell. But I had to finish my beverage first. I just came back from teaching in prison, and it's super hot out, and I had to walk all over the place. So I've been very sweaty, so I was just finishing drinking some. So I have like a lot of beverages around me, and the second beverage that I have is Jarritos Limon, which is my favorite flavor of Jarritos, which is a great Mexican soda. And it is, who does not like a lime soda? I don't know. Maybe the devil, but I love a good lime. I just got this because I happened to pass by a burrito place, and I was like, let me go get a Jarritos while I'm at it. And so then I have it, and oh, wow, love it. Love it. And the brown one where we give free school lunches to all kids. Oh, New Mexico. Because that would probably not be Arizona, right? Wait, maybe? Babbage the Cabbage. The 2024 rulebook also put more weight into backgrounds as well. Oh. Yeah, no. Heck, Arizona's don't now. I meant the land, not the people. Wait, that's a red pizza. Well, no, Vulpes, it's not a red pizza glass. It's just a red glass. Pizza Hut might have also used them, but you can just buy them from a cheap store and just get a bunch of them. I like them because they're plastic, so if I drop them, they will not shatter into glass. Backgrounds give your ability bonuses and a feat. Ooh. Yeah, they are. Yeah, Jarritos are all over Cali. And So good. Can you find Horitos everywhere? Maybe nowadays. All news around WotC and Hasbro has poisoned D&D for me completely. I really do not want anything to do with that game ever again, says Anarch Debbie. I understand what you're saying. I think what I would say is it's complicated for me. Now, please note, I have not run D&D on my channel. The only thing I've done that's D&D on my channel has been some solo RPGs from the basic box. So I'm speaking from a person who has not run D&D on my channel. And who, as a young person, hated D&D, but I was also 13 and had issues. And I think what I will say is, in the 70s, there was a debate that was going around, like 74, 75, about what is D&D? Is D&D what Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson put down on paper, or is it the practices made by the people who play it? And I actually think that it's... I've never been a big, huge auteur theory, so I think my point is, if you're like Hasbro and WotC are like out my last nerve and I do not like them, and I don't want to give them any money, do not give them any money. And that's not a, like, I think that's totally fine. On the other hand, I also think that RPGs are not finished texts, that they are also made at the table, which means I wouldn't see a problem if one liked D&D to play D&D first, 1E or second edition or whatever. Like, if you don't want to give money to the current regime, I think, but you still want to play D&D, I think that you can do that without, you know what I mean? Like, I think that, now, that said, maybe you just don't like D&D, and then you don't play like, I'm not saying you have to play D&D. This is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it. No. I'm a little loopy, everybody. But I do think, like, I do want to make a distinction between the company that makes rule sets and the game itself, because I actually think the game is bigger than one company. Do you know what I mean? Do you know, I mean, like, and you can disagree. That's cool. But I actually think it's, I mean, no two D&D tables are even alike. And so many people, I mean, for the longest time when I was playing D&D back in the day, I bought the main 3 core books and one adventure module, and then later, because I had no money, but later I got Legends and Lore, Deities and Demigods. I got a couple of books later, but for the vast majority of my AD&D 1E playing experience, I didn't buy anything other than the core books, and then everything else was made with everybody at the table. So I kind of think that there are like multiple D&Ds in certain ways. And I think if one wants to play D&D and they enjoy D&D, they can engage in D&D without supporting Wizards Hasbro, I think. But also, maybe a person doesn't like D&D. I do not think anybody has to play in D&D or anybody has to not play D&D. I feel like I am not going to tell other people what they're going to do with their lives. People are going to do what they're going to do. That's what I'm going to say about that. Anyway, it's like a philosophical point, if you know what I mean. So glad to be here and not working. Welcome in, Rissa. You missed some bands. Horitos is goated. Mandarin is very good. I actually have been drinking tamarind recently. I enjoy that. Fruit punch also. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely wish they had just stuck with BG3's pick a +2 and a +1 wherever you want, rather than having it tied to race species. I don't know how I feel about that, Krellin. I mean, look, that's what everybody's doing nowadays. Everybody's in the space that race should not have a mechanical impact. I'm not really there. I understand that that's where everyone's at, but it's not really where I'm at. But, whatever. They did just a bunch of bonus actions to how they are in BG3, which I loved. Oh, that's cool. Share says, we have them at our grocery stores here, though we do have a fairly large Mexican population due to railway workers back in the day. Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, when I was, like, back in the 90s, I could not get jarritos in a lot of places outside of places with good Mexican populations. Like, when I was stationed in South Carolina, there was no jarritos there in the 90s. And I was not getting jarritos in New England in the 90s either. 1991. It was sad. But I suppose things are just more available. But actually, also, do you want to know what though? Now that I'm thinking about it, there are a lot of things that you couldn't get easily in the 80s and 90s that I imagine you can get pretty easily now. Do you remember when it was not? I don't know about you all. When it was not particularly easy to get like Dos Equis um, anywhere. I was underage and I was not drinking beer. I still don't drink beer because I don't like beer, but like you just couldn't get. There were a number of like basically Mexican products that you couldn't get easily everywhere. Dos Equis, like you could, but it was like considered like way fancy. I mean, like you could get it some places, but it wasn't one of those things you could just. I remember it was like I'd come back from being overseas and I walked into like a store and there they were. I was like, oh, like, but and sorry, not only was Dos Equis like you could always get okay, you could always get what was the one Corona, but like Dos Equis and Modelo were not just everywhere, and if they did have them, they were in the special section. But like nowadays, they're just like in the beer section. I was like, oh, I just feel like there's a bit more diversity of choice than there was in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. Um, Especially because they are going full hog on AI generated content for their products. And oh, me neither. And Duffy, I don't either. Hawkeye says, then play Tales of Vine instead. Right. See, and that's Hawkeye, thank you. You finished my thought. The rest of my thought was you can do old stuff, but also you can do Tales of the Valiant. You can do, like, there are a bunch of adjacent things that I think by the way, side note, I have the PDF bundle for 13th Age, and I really want to run it because I feel like it's important historically to run 13th Age. So I think I need to do that. Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. Buy the new books. So that's what you plan on doing with 20. Yeah. Still debating with myself whether I want to spend money on 2024. To be clear, Trooper, in 2024, species does have mechanical impact. But it's not attributes. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Attributes are not decided by your background. Interesting. Now, I have a thought about this, and I'm not going to be arguing like they should do it because there's a bunch of mess over there. But I will say that a lot of the debates about how species should not impact your attributes ever for any game really tells me that people are not thinking about Tunnels and Trolls or games where somebody could be a pixie that's 6 inches or a giant that's 20 feet. D&D has a lot more homogeneity between the kind of species you can play, but there are systems that don't. And I do think that if you are a giant that's 20 feet tall, you should probably have a higher base strength than a pixie that's 6 inches tall. So, like I know that makes me a bad person, I get it, but I actually am not bothered by species, attribute-based species difference, not intellect. If we're talking about species that are very clearly multiple size ratings different from each other. But again, right, some of these debates are just filtered through D&D and they ignore that there are other game systems that maybe it might make sense to do some of these things. But you know how it is. Yeah. Atomica says, yeah, hell, not sure you could get them outside of Boston either. Yeah. Draw Steel, DC 20, Tilda Valiant, Pathfinder 2E. Hell, I'm not sure you could get them outside of, I think I know one Mexican restaurant here that has it. I really like them. Those are the new 5e evolutions. You can get a lot of the big grocery chains. Yeah, like now a lot of big grocery chains carry these things that they just didn't do before, which I think is pretty cool. Wait, you're in San Diego. Why'd I know? I have a huge perspective on that being in San Diego. Oh yeah, House of Dreams. Rissa is in San Diego. By the way, House of Dreams, Rissa, you two might know each other. I'm just going to point out that you two might know each other. Just going to say that because you're both, Rissa, House of Dreams knows Allison and Eben. I don't know if he knows them super well, but he's been to their shows. So my point is same circle or overlapping circles or adjacent circles. Barontor, I wanted to tell you something. Thank you for reminding me. I was holding a thing in my head to tell you that I wanted to tell you. Barontor, do not let me forget to tell you. This is what I wanted to tell you. You know Shadow Dark, and you're looking forward to see what Shadow Dark, right? What I think about it. I have not played it or read it yet, but I picked up a different OSR game or was reading about another OSR game. There are a number of women designing OSR games now. I think that's very interesting, right? Because Shadow Dark's by a woman, and I think there's another one by a woman that I just was reading either about or through. I don't remember now, but I was like, oh, that's interesting. And like, these are not like small niche, like some of these OSR games that are getting really big press and getting attention are by women. And I think that's very interesting and also very cool. But I think that's cool. I think that's a good sign. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a good sign. I just wanted to, because just wanted to share that with you. Let's see. There are definitely ways to play D&D without having the rule books, but also somewhat gray in morality. Mm. Arnoctomy says, I think racy species should have impact things for your character and give you something unique for them. However, I do not think they should make class-race combinations unviable to play. Anarch Dovey just makes the statement that race species should have impact and give you something unique. However, I do not think they should make class-race combinations unviable to play. Do I agree with this statement? My initial thought is yes. By the way, in case anybody wants to know how my thought process works, whenever I read statements or whenever I think a statement or I say a statement, I often go, here's the statement. Wait, do I actually think that? And then I test myself and what happens in my mind. This is just what happened. Right now when I read that, my first thought was, yes, I agree with you. Then I was like, wait, that's too easy for me. I never let myself have my first thought without poking at myself a lot. So my first thought was like, yes, I agree. It's like, wait, can I think of counterexamples? Can I push that? And so I just spent like, in the span of like 7 seconds, a bunch of brain activity happened where I was like pushing ideas around. And I was thinking, I think I'm a yes. And I was like, at first I was like, well, but maybe there are things that wouldn't be well suited. But then I was like, well, every species would probably have warriors, even pixies. Now, the problem is a pixie warrior viable to play? And I think this is based on the idea of whether or not there should be balance between all characters or not. I would imagine pixie warriors are really great fighting other pixies. I don't know how viable a pixie warrior would be in a fight with a giant. So, but now on the other hand, if pixie warriors often have to fight giants, which would suck to be them, I would imagine they would have developed special techniques to fight giants. But in that case, I would probably want there to be some sort of like pixie warrior lens, right? Some kind of like special techniques that pixies have developed that you kind of have to be a pixie to do, right? Because they're 6 inches tall. So maybe they've developed certain kinds of things. Or anyway, but this is me thinking about this not actually through a D&D lens, but through some other lens about in a simulationist way. Pixies are going to have warriors. Obviously. Every species is going to have, I imagine every species will have every class unless the species is not able to do magic, in which case they wouldn't have magic classes. But, and by the way, I'm okay with the fact that dwarves can't do magic in Dragon Age. Like, I'm okay with I am not the person that thinks that a player should be able to do anything all the time, anytime, right? I'm a player and a GM who believes that there should be a setting and the setting should do something, which means I think it's fine for the D&D rules or whatever rules to allow all options, but I also think it's fine in a particular setting to say, well, in this setting, dwarves don't do magic. So, or in this setting, dwarves actually are elves or whatever you're going to do, right? Like, and I'm okay with I'm okay with restrictions if the restrictions are based on the setting itself. But I think the question becomes, what's a viable thing? You know what I mean? And I think that's tricky. That's a tricky one because my initial thought is, I think it should make sense that it would make sense that if somebody has warriors, that they have warriors, like you shouldn't be, but you may not, that on the other hand, sorry, I'm translating this to GURPS in my mind right now. A giant is going to have a higher base strength. A pixie can buy up their base strength. They're going to have like a big strength penalty to start, but they could buy up their strength pretty high if they wanted to invest the points in it. But a giant could probably do a lot of damage to a pixie. However, because of the way that GURPS works, giants are going to have big penalties to hitting that pixie because the pixie is going to be small and will have a big, like, it's going to be really hard to hit the pixie. So pixie will be hard to hit. Giants, on the other hand, are going to be very easy to hit, especially for that pixie. So I would imagine a pixie warrior, pixies can fly, right? So, like, at least in our, like, pixies can fly. So I'm going to imagine that a pixie is going to do a lot of eyeball shots against that giant because eyeballs have a -10 penalty to hit, or -9 maybe, depends. Might be a -8 or -10 if you have a visor on. But you're going to get such a big bonus to hit if you're a pixie going up against a giant. So maybe what pixies do is fly up and poke people in the eye with their pixie spears. And maybe they poison them as well. So, like, basically, I think that it would make sense to me, and what I particularly would enjoy is if, but this is not how D&D works. In D&D, a fighter is a fighter is a fighter, right? And the only thing that matters is your subclass. But, like, the idea that there would be different tactics based on your species, that could be a thing that I think could be interesting, and then you could, like, offset things. But I think basically, anonymity, I agree with you. I just think that viable becomes what that means would probably need to be negotiated. And a pixie should naturally be able to sneak hide. Oh, Hawkeye says, and a pixie should naturally be able to sneak hide better than a giant. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Like, I feel like, yes, absolutely. Are you enjoying our no longer ridiculously hot weather? Oh, still hot here. Yes, physical species attribute differences I've never had a problem with, except for the fact that, like, every single system always tries to balance straight bonuses with it. Yeah, no, see, the intelligence, so first off, the intelligence, I'm not about intelligence charisma stuff tied to species. I think the ones I am least excited about are charisma tied to species. I don't like that at all. It makes no sense to me to say, well, orcs have a -2 charisma, but, like, orcs like each other. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not into it. I don't like it. I don't like wisdom, intelligence, or charisma tied to species. I don't like it. I would like that to go away. I don't think it's good. I'm not into it. So that one, and so a lot of people, when they object to attributes being tied to species, they're mostly thinking about those two, but then they end up saying all of them. Anyway, I think just don't do those. Don't do it. But I do think that now I could say that that GURPS doesn't technically tie some of that to species because everything is modular. They tend to tie it to size, right? So that means a little bit different. It might have a different implication. I think D&D accounts for size differences, though. Like, isn't there disadvantage and advantage to being two sizes different apart? In third edition, they did actually do size. I think there are bonuses because before advantage disadvantage, I think third edition did have a whole thing about size categories that was pretty robust, right? I remember that chart in one of the 3 core books. I think third edition 3.5 really did account for size in terms of hitting people, in terms of targeting. Mm-hmm. Wait, how my bake? Wait, okay, y'all are talking about really exciting things over there. I just like that. I like bringing people together. Name. Well, then there's a very good chance House of Dreams. Okay, see, right? Uh, I'm responsible for Eben writing Hey There, Cthulhu. Shadowrock is by a lesbian woman. Oh, that's awesome. Nice. There are some differences for size, yeah. Though as of 2024, I think the difference between small and medium is all but cosmetic. Yeah, absolutely. New SR and OSR overlap, and there are a lot more folks than old white dudes designing now. Yeah, I've really seen, like, there was that time, when was it, Brian Parentor, like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe? When the OSR really cleaned house and we're like, we're going to get rid of gross people and really do something different. And I was like, respect. Respect. Um, something, Ant-Man. I mean, jab a poison needle in my neck 20, 30 times while I can't swat you, and you're going to be pretty much done, says Atomica. Yeah, so I think you could absolutely, I think that it can be done. I think you just have to, like, I would like, well, look, I tend to come at things from a simulationist space rather than a gamist space. So my thought would be, okay, well, if we live in a world with pixies and giants, and if maybe sometimes giants attack pixie places, pixies have got to figure out a way to deal with that. How would they do that? Like, that tends to be my way of thinking. And, like, I would probably, if it were me, I would probably design a um, a pixie fighting style that pixies developed, and then pixie fighters could pick up that fighting style. And it would probably involve poisons. It would probably involve being very mobile. It might involve stealth. It would probably involve poking people in the eyes who are bigger than you. Just you know. I believe halflings have something like that, right? In D&D. Uh, 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 Limits in the setting make the world interesting. Mm. Ant-Man is small and is just a pixie warrior with strength 20. Nice. Asrams, oh, GURPS. Most folks may reset. So what about Super Pixie? Yeah, well, Super Pixie then... This becomes part of the question, like, what are we modeling? Do you know what I mean? And it's the same with it, like, Buffy the Vampire Slayer does not look like she has that kind of strength, but she does because it's magical. So that could also be a thing. I think that for me, we just need to define the setting. And if in your setting, pixies are functionally equivalent to anybody else, like if in your setting, because of magic, there's no physiological difference between strength within the level of granularity of the system, then, just say it, then that's fine too. But I just think it's important to think about what you're doing and what it means. And also, I do want to say the granularity of the system matters. Some systems are not very granular, so there really isn't a difference between a dwarf and a human, because actually they're just not the level of detail, the scale of strength just doesn't really encompass those distinctions. But then some other games are super granular, so those things do matter. So I kind of think that it really depends on the game system. I just don't think there's an absolute there. That's all. And I think you could do many different things. You just have to think about what you're doing. It's interesting because when it comes to sci-fi, folks change their tune. Oh, are you telling me my wiki isn't super strong? House of Dreams, point right there, point. Hawkeye says, and you have to be specific on the definition of viable, because I want to play it should not guarantee viability. See, Hawkeye, my initial thought is that I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, right. Like I don't think, depending on the setting, everything is going to be viable, whatever that might mean, right? I think we have to sort of think about that word. So, for example, if somebody wants to play a creature that is made entirely of fire and that is vulnerable to water, and then wants to be an underwater diver, but not having to take any protective equipment, I just don't. I mean, okay, but I mean, do you know what I mean? Like, and for me, I think this is where I'm at, and this is probably will not surprise you at all. Some things are going to disadvantage you, right? I mean, I play games that have built into the system disadvantages, and some things are going to disadvantage you. And if you want to do that thing, you can, but part of doing that thing is to accept that there's a disadvantage attached to it. And that has never bothered me, right? Like, if I want to play a character who has kleptomania at a very, very high level, and I take a very low will, what's going to happen is I'm going to steal a lot of things. And if I try to resist stealing things, I'm going to roll my self-control roll, and I'm probably going to fail it most of the time. That's just what it is. If I pick a character who has the disadvantage truthful, I can't lie. My character will not be able to lie effectively. That's just how it is. And if I choose to play a character who is afraid of heights, and I also choose to make that character an airship captain, I'm choosing to make an airship captain who's afraid of heights, right? So, like, for me, part of these things have to do with, sometimes you make choices, and those choices are going to give you something that is not going to be the most min-maxed or optimized, but presumably you're doing that for an RP purposes, one would think. At least, you know how the thing goes. Go for the eyes, boo, says Krellin. Yes. To be fair, a pixie being magical, the strength might not be so much physical as directed mana manipulation. Atomica, yes, right? But that's where we have to sort of think about what is the nature of their magicalness, right? Atomica says, like, they stab at something and the mana force behind it does the strike, the blade acting more as a focus. Absolutely. But that then makes pixies different, right? Because so this is what I actually like about GURPS. Not just GURPS, but definitely GURPS. This is also one of the things I think people don't like about GURPS, but GURPS does not have one pixie. right? Or one elf, or one dwarf, or one giant, or one orc. They have some example ones, but as a GM or as a player, you actually, pixies and all those things are just templates that you can customize to decide what a pixie means in your world. So you could decide that pixies are beings of mana that break all physics, that they actually do not work, that they themselves are always channeling mana for everything. And then you would probably create that pixie with a different template than if pixies are natural creatures in the world, but the world is magical, if you know what I mean. Like there's a difference between like, oh, in this world, because it's a magical world, pixies exist, and they are flying creatures, like birds or whatever. They're kind of like hummingbirds. And pixies are beings that are made up of mana and who channel mana with everything they do. There's like different interpretations of a pixie. And I like that in GURPS, you could make a template for your system to have, for your world to have pixies be one of those things or the other of those things. And you could do either one, right? And I think for me, having cut my teeth on systems that really do allow for that customization, a lot of these things never bothered me because the idea was like, well, in this world, we're going to have pixies be hyper magical in a way that breaks physics because that's actually because physics don't really apply to them. And so therefore, this is what pixies are like. Then we'd all be like, cool, right? And the other one would be like, oh, well, in this one, pixies are like this. And then we'd be like, oh, okay, cool. But I do know that a lot of people don't want to have to, they just want it set up for them, right? So I am just used to a bit more flexibility and the idea that nothing is set in stone, right? In that kind of a way. Uh like they said, but yeah, yep. Charisma is not necessarily attractive. No, charisma is not. It's also magnetism of personality, leadership, and it doesn't make sense to me that an entire species automatically has a -2 to all charisma checks against everybody. And that doesn't make sense because that's just weird. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird to me. It's talking about, yeah, if you're going to go that way, go the bartender hates Knowles, you get disadvantage to dealing with him. Don't need to make it their base stats when it can be a controlled effect. And Atomica, what you would do in GURPS is that bartender would have a disadvantage called bigot, right? Like the bartender would be a bigot. They would have that as a disadvantage. I think it's a chauvinist, I think. So like and that's like, these are like setting design questions, right? Where, if there's going to be sort of social tensions, and actually this is actually interesting, right? So being a bigot this is a social disadvantage. There's nothing wrong with orcs. That person who's bigot against orcs, they have a disadvantage. Do you know what I mean? And now, if the entire society dislikes orcs, then the orc could take the disadvantage second-class citizen. But that doesn't mean that orcs, and then people will react negatively towards them who are bigots. But that doesn't mean that orcs in and of themselves have less charisma or are less magnetic or have less force of personality. It's that there are other factors at play. And I've always appreciated that. And D&D just isn't that granular. D&D doesn't measure those things, but I have always felt better about various species and trait related things because I have tended to play in systems where the problem was often not the being itself, but the society around it. And you could find, and there were ways to mark that in your system. So I sort of think that a lot of these debates are happening because people are really coming at it through a D&D centric space when there are a lot of different models and different ways of thinking about these things, and many of which I actually think are not necessarily bad. I mean, they might be bad for you, but I don't think they're necessarily bad. Krellin says, Ars Magica 5e, which does have rules for making non-human characters. Oh, nice. Also handles physical attributes differently, dealing with size differences. Bigger things have more strength but less quickness. Small things have more quickness but less strength. It's also inherently harder to hurt larger things. Right? Yeah. So like, I just think there are many ways to do it that can scratch. And and I don't think it's bad to explore those things. And RW says, well, personally, a lot of viability ideas fall down a lot more to player skill. A lot of games these days are so systemic, the player does not have that much room to play around. For a pixie versus giant war idea, tactics between the two would be very different. Lots of games, however, make combat into numbers games where the game plan between parties does not matter. Yes. And yeah, halflings have special training against giants. Yes. See, and this is actually, have I got an ending time for stream time? 9:30. 9:30, Rissa. So NRTV, this is where I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to yes and you. And what I'm going to say is a little bit, these are my thoughts about D&D. Everyone talks about D&D being very crunchy. It's complicated. I think crunch is very hard to define in various ways. But one of the things about D&D that I think a lot of people miss is that D&D is not super granular. Right? I mean, I think there are moments of D&D that maybe could get more granular, but it's not. And people are like, but it's got all this crunch. It's got like spell components. It's got these things. They're like, right, but there are no 2-hit locations in D&D, right? So there's no, oh, my pixie can hit you in the eye, right? There's the tactics that you get in D&D are different tactics than you might get in some other games, and that means that certain kinds of distinctions don't actually matter. Do you know what I mean? Like, some things don't matter because the game is not granular enough for it to matter. And that's not bad. It just means that some things you might want, you're just not gonna be able to get it in D&D. And other things you might not want, you are gonna get in D&D. And that's the same thing with every game, right? Like, I know a lot of people who bounce off of Fate because they think it's unrealistic, and I just have to tell them, no, it's just less granular than you think. They're like, well, but I got a black eye. How come I don't have hit point damage? It's like, well, first off, Fate doesn't have hit points, and also a black eye is below the level of granularity for Fate. You have a black eye. Cool, you got it. But the black eye's not, that's not the level of granularity that Fate is concerned with. It's concerned with a slightly higher level. That black eye only matters if it's going to cause you trouble. And if it causes you trouble, then you say black eye is your consequence, and then you move on. If you don't put black eye as a consequence, you still have a black eye. It's just that it's not so bad that it's going to cause you trouble, right? So it's just like trying to think about what is the level of granularity for any given system, and then adjusting your thought process around and how to work within that system to sort of get what you want. Do you know what I mean? Dwarves and Passage Instants have gained bonuses against traditional enemies, an attack bonus to orcs and goblins, I think, and a defense bonus against giants. Not in 5e, though. Good luck on the case, Trapo. Stuff just happened. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you can build a custom one. All those templates can be changed. Workday's finally done. Woo! So here's the thing that I think is interesting about granularity. You know the debates about wheelchairs in D&D? And people are like, there should be wheelchairs in D&D. People are like, no, there shouldn't. It's not historically accurate, but there should. And all those debates about wheelchairs in D&D, I actually think are completely ridiculous, and I'll tell you why. D&D is not granular enough to care about that. Of course you can have a wheelchair in D&D. D&D doesn't care about those things mechanically, right? Mechanically, you can have 1 eye or 2 eyes, or 0 eyes or 5 eyes. You can have 4 hands or 0 hands. D&D doesn't track those things. So there should be no problem with anybody having a wheelchair in D&D if they want to, because D&D is just not that granular. It's totally fine. D&D doesn't care about those things. And so when people say there should never be wheelchairs in D&D because it's not realistic, it's like D&D doesn't care about that level of detail. It's really fine. It's just weird. Like, we don't even need to have a debate about historical accuracy or not. And of course there were wheelchairs back in the day. Also, it's, you know, like the whole thing, the people who are arguing against it are being silly, but also D&D doesn't care about those things, does not care about that level of granularity as a system. They're like, it doesn't like, they don't care if I have a flu or not in D&D. If my character has a flu or doesn't have a flu, kind of doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, and so all these people who are like, there should be no wheelchairs in D&D, I was like, D&D, it's just not that granular. It's fine, actually. It's okay. Yeah. Black eye consequences could cause people who do not want to get involved because they're concerned for you and will try to help you, though they find a secret you were trying to hide. Right. And if you want that to be the case, then all of a sudden black eye is a consequence. But if you don't want it to, like, so I think that's the thing that you have to think about Fate as being not, is this thing here? It's, is this thing important enough to help or hinder you, right? And it's like, there was somebody who was talking about this. So in Fate, let's say you get into a fight, and in the fight you kind of like sprain your wrist. For many characters, spraining your wrist doesn't actually do anything at all. It's really not actually, it's below the level of granularity for that character, so it probably wouldn't be a consequence because whatever. However, if your character is a concert violinist and being able to do things with your wrist is like one of the most important things for your character, then spraining your wrist would be a consequence for your character, right? So it's now the character like Frodo the rock hurler and Bilbo the concert violinist, they if they both sprain their wrist, they both still have sprained wrists. Just because it's not a consequence doesn't mean you don't have it. You still have it. It's just that it's not important enough to bother you in like hinder you sort of or help you in a particular kind of a way. And I kind of think that people sometimes miss that that's what Fate's about. Fate is just has a higher level. It's like it's just less granular than a lot of other RPGs, but that doesn't mean that the things that happen to you didn't happen. It's just that, like, if you get shot, you're still shot, but maybe that's not the most important thing. Maybe the most important thing is that when you got shot, you got blood all over your chef's uniform, and that's really the biggest problem because your chef is Wolfgang, what's his face, or the British guy that yells at people. I can't remember what his name is. The yelly British guy. And that like maybe the biggest problem for you after you're getting shot is that your uniform is ruined, and then the yelly British guy is going to make your life really miserable. And so for you, you don't take the consequence shot, you take the consequence ruined uniform. Doesn't mean you're not shot. It just means that, you know what I mean? Like, and so I think that sometimes people miss what the game is doing, and D&D doesn't really care mechanically about a number of these things that people want to be like, oh, because that's just not its level of granularity. So rock on. Have all the battle wheelchairs you want. It's absolutely, it's not even radical. It's just should be fine. Really, it should be fine. I mean, worst a flu would give you in D&D would be the fatigued or exhausted status, depending how bad it is. Mm-hmm. Learning and playing Fate helped me understand game design better. Gordon Ramsay, thank you. That's who I was thinking of. Wolfgang probably yelled at people, but he didn't have a show about it. Yeah. So like if I'm playing a Gordon Ramsay game where we're playing a game where all the PCs are PCs and Gordon Ramsay's our chef, the consequences are going to be a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like that's going to be different. Atomica says, in his defense, he only really yells at people who don't meet the expectations for their level. He's way harder on trained chefs than with amateur chefs, and he's amazing with kids. I could imagine he'd be really good with kids. I could imagine that. Gordon Ramsay, yeah, he shouts a lot more in American TV than he does in British TV. And he mostly shouts at people who should know that raw chicken will cause salmonella. That's really interesting. By the way, we're at this moment, we're going to just do this. What we're going to do, and we're going to chat while we play the game. It's time. Time. For chatting and game playing at the same time, maybe. Maybe. We'll see. He's not there on Junior MasterChef getting a 5-year-old's face being like, what are you doing, you little... see, that's hilarious. I have a question. Oh, sorry, it's not really a question. Do you know what I learned? This is a what would I call it? Hey. How are you doing? Are you, hanging out with me? Are you going... There we go. There we go. So after a stream, you should check your Okay, I will. I will check my Discord messages. So I've been out on the prison all day. So I learned something really interesting that is related to the comment that Anarch Dovey said. You know Heidi Klum? Who was like on Project Runway? She's apparently the host of Germany's Top Model, Germany's Next Top Model, that one. And apparently she's really mean on German TV, but she's super nice on American TV. So that's kind of interesting to me, the ways in which different characters, different people will have different persona on like an American version of a show versus a British version, or a German versus an American. I think that's interesting, right? Like, what is your persona for this audience versus that one? I just think that's kind of fascinating. Yeah, I'm excited to check my Discord messages, and I will. I just haven't yet. It's been all... Oh, hey. Nothing. We're going to talk to this guy. Because I think we upped our skill. No, we didn't. We need to put skill points in composure before we can talk to this guy again. I think we were going to do that, weren't we? Anyway, I think a lot of people... I think a lot of the agita that people get when they sort of argue about games sometimes comes from not understanding what level that game is working on, right? And I think that sometimes it could be useful to think, what does this game care about? How granular is this game, right? On Brit TV, the only time you see him get really mad is on Kitchen Nightmares, if either the customers are put in danger or if waitstaffs are being mistreated. Oh, that's really interesting. That's interesting. I have to tell you all something that I think is super fascinating for me. I'm very excited about it. By the way, we've got some tasks. We have to listen to the Door Gunner Mega Mix. Oh, we have to do that. I think it's upstairs. We have to help Egghead with his beat. We've got to find a way to join the communist reading group. We've got to do some painting. We don't have that yet. Victims' tattoos. Ooh, that'll be run. Lily rough. Provided to processing. Find all the armor pieces. Getting the boots. Okay, so if I remember correctly, we can do the... I actually can't find these. We've got to talk to I've got to go and check out the Hanged Man. Reaction speed for a cell. Electrochemistry, physical instrument, interfacing. Joyce, okay, all right. Wash, some of these things I don't think we can do just yet. Oh, I probably should up. So here's the thing. We've got a composure test that we can do. Oh, that's impossible. So, right. Oh. I think we go upstairs to see if we can listen to the tape. That's going to be our vibe for the moment. On Bridge TV, yeah, so here's the thing about TV. I thought this was really interesting. So, one of my friends is a... What do you think is in this door? No clue? One of my friends is a big British TV fan. And he was like, have you seen, we cannot play the tapes here. Do I actually even have the ability to play tapes? Items, interact. Where did okay, I bought a boombox. Oh, maybe I didn't. Maybe I just have to go back to the pawn shop for that. I guess that's what we're doing. What time? It's 2 o'clock. We're going to the pawn shop, everybody. This is what we're doing. We're going to the pawn shop. Also, I kind of feel like our game's almost over. I'm getting nervous about that. So anyway, what I was saying was, I want to do things. I want to do things. Yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with culinary stuff. I was in chef school for a short time. Cooking is serious business, and it's completely understandable why Gordon blows a lid, because I would be stressed for the kind of shit some idiots try to pull in the stuff at Kitchen Nightmares. Yeah, so, I also think it's interesting the ways in which people receive behavior. So, I used to watch, Tabitha Takes Over.
You see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
Thank you. And Tabitha Coffey is like a Australian hair designer who would go in and do sort of like a Kitchen Nightmare, but like she'd be brought in to talk to people about their salons. And people thought that she was, pardon my language, a bitch. I didn't actually think so. I thought she was blunt. But, like, if there are cockroaches in, like, the cleaning fluid, she wasn't going to be happy about it. And I didn't actually think that she was... I didn't think she was mean. I thought that she was blunt.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you?
Let's see. Did you find out more about the owner of the armored boots?
Still no word, I'm afraid, sir. I know it must be frustrating. Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
No, I guess not. Guess not.
57th, over and out.
In the
Okay.
cabin, you see a set of steering.
Bye. So I think that what we need to do here, right, is because we've got a bunch of, like, it's the middle of the day, things seem fine. Probably not, actually. So I think what we need to do, we don't have a lot of missions, actually, at the moment. I really want to get those boots, but I can't with... Maybe I just need to give up on the boots. I don't know. Here's what we're going to do. While we're here, since we're here, I think what we do is see what we can do in this area. I can't talk to him yet. Oh, hey, there's fast travel. I didn't know that. Is there fast travel? Is there? So what I would like to do is... Is there anything up here? I mean, there's some stuff, but I feel like we should go see the Hanged Man. Because we can do it. So I think we go look at him and see if we can perceive anything. Since we're just in the area. Figured might as well. The problem is that these people already have these super bad habits, and someone coming in and telling them simple stuff like, don't sell expired food, isn't really going to be life-changing enough for them to not just keep acting the same way they have their entire lives. You know? I mean, you make a point. Although, you would hope that sometimes they would... I don't know. Maybe it'd be like a
His
wake-up call.
eyes are still glowing red. It's guarding over the freezing corpse hidden inside its belly.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put on perception clothing. And while I'm putting on perception clothing, I'm going to read chat. And then maybe we will look to see if we can get some, like, you know, good perception clothing. Let's just see what we can do. In the US, everyone gets hyper upset at any criticism anymore. Yeah, anyone that is blunt to the point, or is portrayed in the US as being mean, rude, and cruel. Yeah, and I just didn't think she was. I didn't think that she was touchy-feely, which she wasn't. But she was empathetic. You know what I mean? Like, she just was blunt. But she was trying to help. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't... Yeah, she was trying... Like, look, she did not come to your shop unless your shop was on the verge of bankruptcy because it wasn't working, and you're like, please come in and fix my shop because it's not working. And she's like, okay, well, there are reasons why... These are the reasons. And she, you know, she was there because you asked her to be there. And there was a problem. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay, we have put on all of our perception clothing. We're gonna go look at this body again.
The bear's eyes are still glowing red. It's guarding over the freezing corpse hidden inside its belly.
I'm afraid to test. I'm gonna test, but not look at the result, just look at chat.
You touch the dead man's body. His skin is cold, light blue and silvery in the light of the fridge. You still have no idea where to begin, or what to even do with him.
It'll come to you sooner or later. At least he's safe here until then.
I'm gonna have to put more points into perception if I want to do this. That's fine. It's fine. I'm not mad. My perception's pretty good though, right? Can I actually even increase it anymore? Where's my perception? Oh, it's down there in motorics. Yeah, I definitely can add points to it. So Here's my thought, by the way, if you want to know my strategy for things. My strategy is, since if you fail a test, you're locked out, my basic thought is, if do all the ones that you can until you've locked all of them out. And then once you've locked out all the ones that you, right, then you can up a skill. Which, by the way, I don't have any open perceptions, so I think I can increase my perception skill. And I have a whole bunch of skill points. So let's do that. While we're here, let's look at the body again.
The eyes are still glowing red. It's guarding over the freezing corpse hidden inside its belly. You touch the dead man's body. His skin is cold, light blue and silvery in the light of the fridge. You still have no idea where to begin, or what to even do with him.
I have an 8 perception. I need a 14. I only need to roll a 6 or higher on 2d6. My odds are better than average. And why did I roll snake eyes? What's up with that? I have feelings
It'll
about
come
this.
to you sooner or later. At least he's...
I want to up my perception one more time. I won't. I will eventually, but I'm going to do a round of missions because I feel like if I do a round of missions, then at least if I unlock new seal
A thick
tests,
layer
then
of cold dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black. A hollow ring echoes through the furnace. Your toe hurts.
I just got an achievement of banging up physical objects. I'm going to smear my hands. I don't
A
know.
lush layer of coal now covers your skin, sinking into the wrinkles. Your hands look ancient.
Damage my morale, heal up. My morale is so high. I'm not worried about my morale. I'm kind of worried about my physical health.
You feel the spirit of Ramut Karzai, ancient hero of Grad, pulsing through you. All that's left is to cover your face in war paint.
Yeah, no, let's not oh, wait. I'm Art Cop. Do I... Hadramut Karzai, smear your cheeks black with coal. Yeah, I'm going to do it because not super healthy in my face. So, yeah, I'm going to go for number 1. We're going to do it.
3 dangerous stripes appear onto your cheeks, telling stories of your wild soul.
Like adamant.
What are you doing?
I'm the reincarnation of an ancient Ilmaran warrior.
Please wipe your face clean, officer.
No, you're a proud warrior. Keep it.
I'll wipe it clean.
Thank you. So, where were we?
He turns back to the furnace. We'll go. We'll just leave. You know, we'll just head out. By the way, what happened there? I feel like something happened and I got a thing. We're gonna, you know what we're gonna do while we're here? We're gonna just go up the stairs, chat with people. Why not? Also, it is dark in here. We have a light, don't we? I think we do. Flashlight? Anyone? No? Flashlight? Come on. Tools, flashlight. Here we go. Flashlight. Let us, there. See? Look. Everything's great. I have a lot of questions about my life right now.
Tiles
Yeah.
on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard.
I'm going to insert the production schedule.
Like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking.
Oh! We've got new things going on. Press play.
The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's playing a magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule?
We're gonna try the password for the production schedule.
Good. Please repeat the password.
Afterlife death.
Good. I've unlocked the production schedule. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament.
Okay.
Really? She just used the same password?
The Lunet seems almost disappointed to discover that. I'm just really, I just feel like, what's happening?
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
That's all for now.
Thank you, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard.
We're gonna press print.
With a quiet determination, the printer starts printing, a piece of paper unfolding like a handheld fan. A black crisscross of letters covers its surface.
Hey everybody! Did you hear that sound effect? That was a dot matrix printer. Oh! Oh my god, I'm sorry. I haven't heard that sound in a long time. Wow. 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 Because I remember the sound of dot matrix printers, and they always had like it was a very evocative sound, the dot matrix printer. Yeah. Wow. I'm surprised at how that sound sort of like triggered. Just comes like, that just gave me PTSD. I wouldn't say PTSD, but it really triggered like very visceral memories, that dot matrix printer. Like I could just see it. Watching the lines like be built up piece by piece. Wow. Wow. It brought back, yes, Hawkeye, it brought back old memories. Wow. Okay. Wow.
It's a project report written by the lead producer, Andrew Andy Schott, about Whirl Untethered, a radio game developed by Studio Fortress Accident.
My dad printing reams of stuff he had no need for, covering every flat surface of the house with whatever he was printing. Right, and then of course, after you printed out your paper and you took it out of the printer, then you had to take the little side things off, the little side parts where the little spokes were, and then you have to separate each page, and then you put yeah. Oof.
The first few pages give an overview of the capital and workforce, while the rest of it seems to be a production schedule.
Read about the workforce. Who worked there? How long?
Fortress Accident employed 18 people, the bulk of the team composed of writers and concept artists. There were also radio programmers, sound engineers, a CEO, 2 marketing experts,
We're getting new information that we didn't get before. I'm very excited about
and a
this.
single overburdened producer who developed a habit of popping Pyrrolidon in the basement to escape his obligations.
Awkward.
Why did Fortress Accident have so many concept artists?
Wait, why did a radio game need so many artists?
It didn't.
It didn't need so many concept artists?
No, definitely not.
Oh.
A few more producers could have come in handy though, especially when dealing with writers, some of whom routinely skip to work because of mental health issues and extremely unprofessional sleep schedules.
Oh. Hawkeye says, collating those printouts were as much work as creating them. Yes, they were. Yes, they were. Hey, everybody, I have a question. It just occurred to me a question. Maybe some of you know. Do you know how Hasbro, right, using AI for D&D? Do we know what they're using it for? Do we know if they're doing AI art or AI writing? What I'm asking is this. The word AI has been used in many different ways to mean many different things. And there was a time when nobody's upset by the use of the word AI in the context of video games. Like, what's the opposition? Like, the AI in Halo is very, very good. You know what I mean? So, are they talking AI in terms of art and writing, or are they talking AI in terms of as a euphemism for how they've programmed enemies to respond to actions for their VTT, their D&D 3D thingamajiggy. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? What does it mean that they're using AI? I'm just curious. Are we talking about the little miniature people in their three-dimensional VTT, or are we talking about other stuff? I don't know what they mean by it. If anybody knows, I'd like to know.
One of them even managed to steal some valuable company property before skipping town for good.
Oh. I'll read about Capital. I want to know about money?
In its short time of existence, Fortress Accident SCA managed to burn through truly insane amounts of money.
Oh.
The first tranche of seed financing brought in 150,000 Riyal, but then came the delays.
Oh. They use it for story generation and GM. So, are they just basically creating a solo RPG experience? Is that what they're doing? I mean, is that what they're doing? That like an individual will play D&D through their VTT by themselves, and then it'll create like a solo experience for them? Is that what they're doing? No. What are they doing then? What are they doing? They want to cut out the GM completely. Right. So you don't play with it. Oh, so groups of like 4 groups of friends go and there's no GM and it's just like ChatGPT creating an adventure for them. Is that where they're going?
Eventually, the damage reached 400,000 Riyal, with only half of the game finished.
Gosh, where do they get all this money?
Let's just say it was a real adventure for their Igaunian investor.
Okay. So they want to create a GM-less experience. With basically having like, they want it, okay. So what they want, Anarch Devi, let me translate it to old person speak for me. Do you remember that video game, if you will call it that, from the 80s that was called Liza, maybe? Or Krellin, Hawkeye, Barontor, one of y'all. Do you remember this one I'm talking about? Rissa might know it too. It was like, was it like Liza or Eliza? It was called Eliza, wasn't it? And Eliza was like a virtual therapist, but it was from the 80s and it was all text-based. So that you'd be like, what is your problem? You'd be like, I want to blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, tell me about, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about? Let me see. Eliza, text. How do you, Cake Bite, thank you. Thank you. How do you feel about that? Is that the one it's Eliza, right? Right? Hold on. Eliza, here we go. Yeah. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. We're taking a brief pause-a-rooney for a moment. Whoop. Just a quick. This is it. So this is Eliza, the therapist. This is from the original Eliza first appeared in the 60s. Oh, I didn't know that. Some people actually mistook her for human. The illusion of intelligence works best, however, if you limit your conversation to talking about yourself and your life. So apparently, I didn't realize this from the 60s. Eliza is a computer program that emulates a Rogerian psychotherapist. Just type your questions and concerns and hit return. Eliza will answer you. Okay. Let's see. Dear Eliza, I don't know if we say dear. My party and I are approaching a dungeon. What do we see? Have you asked anyone else? No, we've only asked you. Oh? Yes. I see. Should we enter the dungeon? Anybody who's super young, this was playing computer games in the 80s, just so you know. Can you elaborate? Oh, okay. The dungeon might have treasure, but also we might die. Should we enter the dungeon? I'm not sure I understand you fully. Are you a better GM than the new D&D AI GM? Why are you interested in whether or not I'm a better GM than the new D&D AI GM? I just had severe deja vu of you saying the dungeon may have treasure, but you might die. Oh! Ooh. So, by the way, everybody, this is what it was like in the 80s. This was our AI. So I wonder if the new D&D AI will be like Eliza or not. I mean, I don't know. I'm not the boss of Eliza, but those are my thoughts. In case anybody wanted to know. I just think it would be hilarious if they spent all of this money and time investing in some kind of AI DM, and then it's just like Eliza. I would just laugh. That's all.
The production schedule depicts their glorious descent into bankruptcy.
Well, right. What happened?
It was impossible not to fail. The project was too large, and no amount of money could satiate the ever-expanding ambitions of the development team.
Atomica says, "How does stabbing the griffin make you feel about your father?" Well, I don't even know what a Rogerian therapist is, but this is very exciting to me. Anyway, how do I feel about them creating AI GMs so that people don't have to have GMs anymore? I mean, I'm a kind of a forever GM. I mean, I do play nowadays as well, but like I've been GMing from the very beginning. That's not what I've heard. They were using i4. It's more for art and writing. Oh, interesting. Well, I ran my paper prompt through ChatGPT so I could get an example of what ChatGPT returns for my paper prompts. And I'm going to tell you what, for all 4 paper prompts, they read very similarly. They're almost the same, even though the paper prompts are like, I have like the first paper prompt for my students in the class here. I give them 5 different topics. They pick one. They've got to go and do some basic research, find at least 7 sources, say what the thing is, and then describe what the people who are writing about the thing say about it. What issues do they bring up? What arguments are they making? Like, give a general overview of what conversations there are around the thing. And then they have to end by if they were going to write an article, what would they add to that conversation? So it's all about getting them to understand the purpose of this is to make sure they can cite well, but also to get them to move them from being a consumer of knowledge, like they just, I just read that, that's what it is, to thinking a bit larger, like, this person says this says this, these are the kinds of themes that the conversation is, this is what they're missing, so here's what I can add, right? I want to try to get them out of just reading it for knowledge, but reading it for meta knowledge. And the topics are this is like for the first writing assignment, so we're in the very early part of the history of African American music, so all the topics are pretty early. So it's Bronzeville, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, the East St. Louis riots of 1917, and 2 more. I can't remember. What were they? I don't remember. Black Swan Records. That was number 4. And then number 5 was, I can't remember. Anyway, they're not the same. They're all quite different. Like, one's a neighborhood, one's a record company, one's a person. They're quite different. And ChatGPT's papers are almost all the same. They say, well, the issues are X, Y, and Z, and like X, Y, Z is the same for all of them. Anyway, it's just not good. And so I imagine if we're going to be having an AI GM, I would suspect there might be a lot of that. And then they would ask me how I feel about my father. I just feel like that's what's going to happen. It may be time for a Gamblers group therapy episode, and it would be Eliza. Yes. It's using it to create modules and such from prompts. Huh. Atomic says, I'm happy. I'm finally playing in a campaign. My GM is letting me get out a bunch of character ideas in creative ways. Oh, that's cool. Atomic says, I rolled relatively low, so instead of a single character, I'm playing an entire kobold den. And they each use that low base stat rolls, but I make specific kobolds for the specific mission the team is going on. Undead, Paladin Kobold. Diplomacy, Bard. Got a stealth mission up next, so I'm made Kobold Batman. Oh, that's cool. It's all about how Jazz and Pool are bringing trouble, right? It's right. This is what I'm saying.
They tried to make a 4 million real game with 400,000 in their bank account. They thought they could bridge the gap with pure willpower and imagination.
Stands for Pool.
They couldn't.
So they were done in by their own ambition.
No. Even then, success remained within an ever-narrowing margin of possibility that, despite everything, never entirely disappeared.
Oh?
That is, until they discovered the Valley of the Heads.
The what?
At the 11th hour, the lead designer, Jimsk-born Suliswav Jalisa, decided that what Wirral Untethered needed was a secret mystical location at the extreme edge of the map.
Are you all hearing this? What's going on?
This place was to be the Valley of the Heads, where the heads of all the headless constructs could be found. The player would have been able to choose a head for their headless party member, and each head would have been voiced on air by a professional actor.
How many heads were there?
So many. The last count, there were approximately 10,000 heads for 10,000 headless men, all of which could be endlessly recombined.
How many combinations could you make out of that?
Do you really want to know? There seems to be a calculation here, but it may take a while.
Well, yeah. I mean, how bad could it be? Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Well, okay. Oh, I see. Well, okay. Okay, still going. Uh-oh. Okay. Everybody, I think we need to talk to Eliza about what I just did here. Okay. I might have broken it. Oh, no. Oh, gosh.
The lieutenant taps his foot impatiently, his arms folded tight against his chest.
I didn't... What have I done? Oh, okay. Hi. So, simple hex code. Give me a piece of paper in 2,000 hours and I'll translate. Oh, no. Hey, Vancouver, how are you? How's it going?
The radio computer. What if it's never going to stop?
You know what? I'm gonna just let the numbers wash over me. We're just gonna let it be. Oh, wait, zeros.
And that's it.
Oh. Okay. So that's what did them in.
Well, yeah, that and the catastrophic data loss.
Oh. This must be the anomaly that Suna mentioned the church log.
On the nature of the data loss, there's ominously little information in the production log. It comes at the very end, where things get fuzzy and dark, where tables and numbers seem to vanish into an eerie nothingness, before the Egonian investors pulled the plug. What is clear is that one day, an unidentified numeric anomaly occurred on the East Insulindian Lintel front, just as the Wirral Untethered project was being compiled that day.
And the anomaly caused all the data to get lost in the air?
When the project was returned, it was completely blank.
Well, that's real bad.
The team spent weeks on the phone with Lintel, the service provider. But despite their diagnostics, they could never produce a satisfactory explanation or pay for the loss.
Wait. They lost the whole game and wouldn't even pay for it?
Always read the terms of service.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
And let's face it, they didn't have any money left for illegal action.
Wasn't there a copy of the game, like a backup?
Mysteriously enough, it seems that the off-site copy happened to be on-site when the catastrophic data loss occurred.
That's weird.
It was the lead programmer's responsibility to oversee weekly maintenance of the off-site copy and, well, keep it off-site. An explanatory note from the lead programmer has been attached.
What does it say?
S. Luukinen Kilda, the lead programmer of Fortress Accident. The off-site copy was on-site because there was no off-site anymore. Not for me, not after 8 months of crunch.
Oh, wow. I feel like this game is trying to make some kind of commentary. By the way, I've been wanting cake for the last couple of days and I don't have any. And I want to make cake, but I also don't want to make cake.
I didn't have a home anymore, so I started keeping it in the basement in the ice bear refrigerator, near where I went to sleep. It was perfectly safe there. The temperature conditions were optimal.
Seems like a perfectly reasonable explanation.
That's not what her colleagues thought.
Oh.
She's right, actually. Nothing wrong with keeping this type of filament memory in a fridge.
See? Is there anything else from this lead programmer?
The production schedule ends with a few random notes that seem to be added sometime later.
Oh, well, let me read the notes at the end.
4 months later, by an unknown author. I am the only one left, and it's gotten rather damp here. A few other businesses have gone under, too. Slipstream switched to making skis, and the hairdressers just left, cursing Martinez. They're right, though. Something's seriously wrong with this place. Martinez, all of it.
I had a corn muffin from a diner this week that was so sweet, I'm sure it was cake. Ooh, that sounds really good, Valtiel. Vulpus says, by the way, how late tonight? It's 8:30, 9:30. So I feel like if we do 9:30, that'll get us a full 3 hours. That's what I'm thinking. 9:30.
Still haven't got an answer from Lintel about what happened. All I could get were the physical coordinates of the error on the East Insulindian front on that day. Since the computation happened on air, I reckoned it had to coincide with an actually existing location.
I have a question for you all.
I have compared the coordinates to a map of Revachol West. Turns out it's only 800 meters from here. The address is Saint-Brun 1147. I am going there to look this thing in the eye.
Interesting.
Saint-Brun 1147?
Yep.
That's what the street sign next to the church said.
Yeah, I'm gonna tear off this printout. I don't need to throw it away. That's wasting paper.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard.
Yeah, I'm gonna remove the production
The
schedule.
filament slides out of its glowing nest.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you like a weird question. Does this game have a smell to you? I mean, I realize that you're watching me stream it and all, and also it doesn't have a smell in real life, I get that, but like, this game feels like it has a smell to me. Like it is so, like the art design is such that like, it feels like it has a smell. Like a kind of a, I can't place it exactly. Like something a little musty maybe, a little, feels like cologne from the 70s maybe, leather, mustiness. Like it just feels like it has a smell to me. And patchouli and truck grease, I'm like, that's also good, right? Volpa says, I have my lately dessert of choice, Luigi's mango Italian ice. Ooh, nice and not too sweet, but a good mango flavor. Ooh, nice. A lot of leather, yeah. Leather, cigar smoke, it feels like that. It feels like that's the smell of this, like leather, cigar smoke. There's a, what is that one cologne? It was like an aftershave. Is it Brute or is it, English leather. Like you like it feels like it's that kind of a thing. Right? No? That's just like the vibe I'm getting. We're going to talk to this. We haven't spoken to this woman in a while, so we're going to talk to her because I feel like we're going to.
It's you again. Are you looking for a dye?
Oh. Stale smoke. Yeah, and the docks. Ooh, that also works. Yeah. Smell not really, but it has like a kind of a gritty, slightly sticky feel. Yeah. I think English leather is a deodorant stick. Oh. House is like, yeah, leather and tobacco. Yeah, it feels like leather, tobacco, maybe old books, like the smell of old books, used books that you get at like a bookstore. It smells maybe like a used bookstore. Yeah, I feel like it smells a little bit like a used bookstore, maybe. It smells exactly how you think the bar Lemmy from Motorhead lived in. Yes, it does. Actually, Atomica, I feel like that's also true. I'd like to order a dye from you.
Of course. Tell me what you have in mind.
Hey, this is new information. I'm looking for something to help with my work.
I think I have just the right one for you.
Oh. She opens the top drawer of her work desk and takes something out. 2 polyhedrons, red and blue, are cradled in her palm.
Police colors.
Because I'm a police officer, right?
Not the most original, I know. But sometimes the obvious choice is obvious because it's best.
She smiles, almost apologizing.
Here, catch. They're a gift from me.
Oh!
A beautiful woman tossing you a gift. Whatever you do, don't overthink it. Okay, I've not been doing good on my die rolls today, so I think I'll
Name
do
game.
maybe this one. Hey, Prax! I was thinking about you. Okay, I'm going to roll the dice, and then I'm going to sing the name game. And I'm going to actually close my eyes and sing the name game without thinking about this.
You overthink it. Your hands can't agree what to do, and the 2 dice drop to the floor and scatter in opposite directions, like pearls from a broken string. The blue one disappears down the pit in the center of the room.
Ah, down the drain, like your career. I apologize, officer. That comment was unnecessary.
Chokes the dice maker, her eyes tracking the remaining polyhedron. Then she catches your eye. I'll just pick up the red die.
That one is made of bloodstone with a lapis lazuli inlay. The other one was the inverse. They were a set, you see, but now the set is broken.
I did forget that the game was going to talk to me, because sometimes it doesn't.
It's a shame. They might have brought you luck. You definitely need luck in Martinez.
She closes the desk drawer. This seems so dire. Let's have joy instead, after all of that. Instead, we're going to just have joy, and that joy is going to be the name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F, or an M will appear. And then I say, bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanta, and fo. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain, with a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Praxagorismophoria. Praxagorismophoria, Praxagorismophoria, bo, Baxagorismophoria, fee, fi, fo, Faxagorismophoria. No, that's not right. That'd be, then I say the name, then banana, fan, and fo. Then I say them again. Praxagorismophoria, 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 bo, Baxagorismophoria, banana, fan, and fo, Faxagorismophoria, fee, fi, mo, Maxagorismophoria, Praxagorismophoria. The name game. Wah. The deodorant has apparently been discontinued. Has it? Oh. It reminded me of your great uncle, though. So it says, yeah, English. So, can I tell you all something? People will know this. Some people might have known this, but I didn't know it. I needed to get a new pair of shoes because I was working in the prison, and I wanted shoes that the shoes that I have that I love have a lot of buckles on them, and they take a long time to get in and out of. I was like, I need some shoes I can get in and out of really quickly when I go to the prison. So let me see if I can find some shoes that don't have laces, but that don't buckles and all that stuff. So I was like, let me go, but I don't want to spend a lot of money, and I hope I can find something that's not like really ugly loafers. Let me just go to a Payless shoe store. And so I went and I looked for a Payless shoe store, and I believe they've all gone out of business. So I don't think Payless shoe stores exist anymore. That is what I learned. So I went to the DSW, the Designer Shoe Warehouse, which I suppose is the new Payless.
Is she pitying you? Good God, she's pitying you.
Now, was there anything else?
No. Is it really bad? It's bad, right? Like, I'm going to die now in this game because I failed the thing. Hey, look, it's my die. Look at it. It looks amazing. This 20-sided die is made of bloodstone and lapis and inlaid with lapis lazuli. Its colors resembling police sirens. The blue partner is missing. Kind of looks like the fire department arriving on the scene. Got fucked. Shit fingers. Note, look at the map tab in the journal to see which white checks have opened. What? 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 Okay. Something happened, everybody. Punch, payphone. I think that was already open. Probably. Ice Bear Fred, Shelf of Crime Novels, Smoker. Oh, a cell. I think that opened. Okay. Oh, I have a brand new cell. Oh, okay. I think that might have been the only new one, right? Oh, okay. We have to go. We have a die. I'm also really sad we did not catch the other die. I feel like it is time to save it. I feel like something terrible has happened there that we can never get back again. Joy in our lives. I don't know. We're gonna just, is there another way out of here? Maybe. It's creepy, man. This is so Silent Hill to me. Poor animals. No rest for their bodies after death. I need to navigate, but I just want to read you all in chat. That's just what makes me happy. Oh. Smells like leather and sweat. I believe Payless is gone for good. Yeah. I didn't realize that Payless was out of business. I kind of feel like there's a lot of stuff I did not realize because COVID. You know?
The barbell waits patiently on the floor, like a dog for its master.
Look, Kim, it's a trap. There are no collars on the barbell.
You're right. The weight may fall off. Better not touch it then.
What kind of bastard would just remove the collars? It should be a felony.
It would be a violation of EPIS safety regulations if the gym was still operating, but it isn't. No one's supposed to come here anymore.
Is this familiar because I'm a weightlifter?
No, it's not that.
Oh.
It's the stale smell of rubber, the squeaky sound of sneakers, your bruised knee against the mat, and a whistle. Then the feeling is gone.
Prax just said something terrible. That Payless has been out of business for almost 10 years. When did that happen? How come I've not noticed
It's just
this?
a memory.
It's because I don't buy shoes often.
A memory from another life, when you were young and fit.
All I'm saying is that I clearly do not buy shoes often enough. I don't really shop for clothes very often. The only time I get clothes are when those clothes are costume pieces for RPGs. Looks like Guillaume Le Million, that hair poster. Oh, nice. Who doesn't love that? By the way, look at us being very sort of exciting about all the stuff. Oh, hold on. Everyone knows the most interesting thing about fascists was their magic. Ooh. I believe that there's a test in here we can do. Look, I'm trying to like clean up the city. Don't ask me. We had a task in here that was Shelf of Crime Novels reaction speed. Let's see what we can do. Also, did we level up? I don't know. I think we will find out. Yeah, reaction speed, by the way. That's what we're looking at, reaction speed. Yeah, I was just like, oh, I'll just go to the Payless, and they don't exist. And that's just weird to me. Because it makes me think about all those things that I think what I'm trying to say is nothing is inevitable. I'm not going to level up just yet. I'm going to keep all those skill points in the back, just in case I need them for something.
Shelves full of biographies of famous people, whoever they are.
I'm the greatest innocence? What's that about? It costs money. I have money. Let's buy it. That happened to Big Lots just this week. Did it? Oh my goodness.
A true cultural touchstone. Enjoy the read.
Okay. Thanks.
Browsing through all the books with all their names makes your head spin. Suddenly, a particularly odd title catches your eye. It reads, High Speed Love, the tragic true love story of Jacob Irv and Alfie Delatraz, by one Cecilia Averbrook.
What's it about?
High Speed Love chronicles the romance between two of the finest tip-top tourney racers in history. One of them is the madcap driver, Jacob Irv. His blonde mane graces the cover.
Is he played by Fabio?
Next to Irv's life story, you see a slim biography of an Occidental rock star called the Anti-Star. He's famous for shooting morphine into one of his eyeballs and cocaine into the other.
So, here's a thing that might be interesting for you to know about me. I don't actually have any lines and veils, asterisks. You know how people have lines and veils, they're like, I don't ever want this in my game. I generally tend to have conditional lines and veils, like, I don't want this in my game with you. But I'm totally fine with this in my game with that person. Like, I don't tend to have, like, static lines and veils. Mostly it's like, is this like, I don't think I want that in this particular game, but it might be cool in another game in a different context. I'm very contextual. But not really excited about graphic descriptions of needles puncturing eyes or things puncturing eyes. Kind of don't like eye puncturing things. And as a matter of fact, I have gotten contact lenses multiple times in my life, and I just never really use them. I can get them in, but taking them out is a real problem because it's just, I mean, I can eventually get them out, but like it doesn't really make a lot of sense to spend 30 minutes trying to get your contact lenses in and then like an hour trying to get them out because they involve your eye. And like, I thought that maybe I would get desensitized and like I would just be able to use contact lenses and be cool because I'd be desensitized to like the eye thing. But I kind of don't get desensitized to the eye thing. It's kind of not my thing.
Next to that, Rivasholian radio personality Guillaume Bevy stands in front of a rundown drug den. He's a permanent fixture on Channel 8, reporting on real-life crime and ruining cops' days.
Oh.
I really must insist you buy one of the books. Reading them is not for free. Do still browse, though, but not too long.
I just bought a book.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to rush you. You are browsing. Go ahead. Take your time. Time is commerce.
Wow. Wow. I even bought a book that I don't even know if I need. Come on.
Several maps have been attached to a bulletin board hidden inside the alcove. They're held up by small pins. The board has come loose from one corner.
Rissa says, eyeball injections, not fun. That's my thought. Fulpa says, yeah, I can't wear them because of that and have had injections before and will again. Oh. So, you know, people are like, oh, you wear glasses, you should go get LASIK. And I was like, huh. And then I read about what LASIK is and I was like, oh, no. They put a scalpel? No. And you have to be awake for the whole thing? Like, don't worry. They give you like Valium. I was like, no. I don't know. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And I was talking to my optometrist. By the way, I've got to go get my. I made an appointment already. I'm going to see my optometrist again for my annual. And my optometrist says, "Yeah, don't get LASIK because it doesn't actually last that long. It has to be redone anyway. Just be where you're at." I was like, "Great," because the description of LASIK is not one that fills me with excitement.
The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of Insulinda, a map of Revachol, and a map.
I'm out of here. I'm just. Thank you. Like, I was like, no, because they I'm not going to describe it out of respect for you all and also me, but that does not sound like a procedure that I want to have anything to do with, is all I.
This bookstore is not
for fun.
Strictly about crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. There's also a wide range of paranatural literature.
I'm going to buy The Medicinal Purposes of the Pale.
Indeed. Something about that book does seem to have spoken to you.
You know, it's fine.
Well, I hope it contains what you're looking for.
Great. Also, I'm buying books I probably shouldn't, but I'm buying books because I am.
Shelves filled to the brim with crime novels featuring the supposedly stalwart Vespertine detective, Dick Mullen.
I've got to put points my reaction speed. What's my reaction speed? It's 4? I've got the points. I'll do it. Woo. I'll do it. I'll level up my reaction speed. I don't mind. I'm going to save, though. I'm going to do a quick save. Just, just in case it's bad.
Shelves filled to the brim with crime novels featuring the supposedly stalwart Vespertine detective, Dick Mullen.
Balltail says, my vision is really poor and I would love to get surgery to repair it, but I feel like if I hold out just a bit longer, maybe something less scary, then that will... Those are my feelings. I was like, because somebody's like, oh no, they use a laser. It's like, oh cool, okay, if they just shine a laser in my face, that's fine. But no. By the way, when you go get your annual exam and that thing they do where they poke you in the eye? I don't like that. I just don't like it. I don't like it.
Your quick eye notices a small caterpillar crawling across the spine of a book. The title reads, Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity.
What do we have here? Mistaken Identity?
A worn paperback from Dick Mullen's classic Hard-Boiled Phase. The premise seems to be that Dick Mullen is framed for the murder of his best friend and has just a few days to prove his innocence.
Why does this speak to me?
Could it be the motifs of unstable identities and shocking betrayals?
Nah. Gotta be something else.
Perhaps you're drawn to the dark and noirish atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm pretty intense. All about that dark stuff.
Then this is the book for you.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna buy it. Because I've got money. I'm spending money. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy this Dick Mullen novel.
Of course. Such violence and immorality. Enjoy.
No, leave. I'm just looking. See if there's anything here.
A mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related merchandise.
Yeah, I don't have the money for that, so I'm not going to buy any of those things. Just so you know. Just putting it out there.
The display rack is brimming with worn paperbacks featuring an extremely muscular, sword-wielding barbarian on the cover. Nearly all the titles contain the word Hyundai.
So here's what here's what I'm going to tell you all, by the way, everybody. There are some GURPS solo adventures for Conan, and I think I should do them for my next solo. Like, you know, when we have like some time. Well, I've got to finish 2D6 Dungeon. Also, 2D6 Realm is coming out, their hex crawler. So that's true. I do need to go back to Testocles. But I do think I should run the Conan solo adventures from back in the day. I think I should do that. I'm just throwing it out there so I don't forget. Also, I really feel like I should make cake. I've heard recently that LASIK only lasts like 10 years. Yeah, that's what I heard too. Like, it's only 10 years. Yeah, the glaucoma air poke. Thank you, Volpez. Oof. Judging Morals, you're the one selling the book, NPC shopkeeper. Yeah, and also I don't think I'm going to buy any of the Conan books, just in case anybody wanted to know, because that's a lot of money that I no longer have. So maybe I'll get more money. I don't know.
Detective. Are you here for more books?
What are you doing now?
Math. It's really difficult. Like, really. They say you need it to get rich. Better than standing outside in the cold, I guess.
Okay.
Oh, I found something while you were away.
Oh, what is it?
I thought this would fit you. Like, thanks for helping out. Not me. The city, I mean. Like a detective does.
She gives me a hat, almost exactly like the one Dick Mullen wears on the covers. Oh. A detective hat?
Yes, just like the one Dick Mullen wears all the time. You'll look way more serious with that.
Aw.
Right, I have to get back to my homework now, before Mum notices. Man, this is hard.
She looks back at the infernal scribblings under her nose. Somebody just gave me a present, and like everybody hates Harry, but like just got a present. I feel like it's getting better in the world. That was nice. I should also probably put away this flashlight because it seems a little bit awkward to just be running around with a flashlight. So let's wear. Oh hey, I can play tapes. I've had this tape player this entire time. That's cool. I apparently also have a gun. Oh. I'm gonna just wear my plastic bag, and then I'm gonna talk to her. Just say hey, see how she's doing, because I feel like.
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People.
I think you could probably make a better title for your store, like reading, like, you know, between the covers, or, you know, just work on it, workshop it. I had a few more questions about the curse.
Okay, but please, only a few questions. You wouldn't want to disturb the spirits.
Right, I'm good,
The woman
actually.
looks aloof, her features much softer. Occasionally she glances
Bye.
at her.
Look, it turns out going back to talking to the people has some positive impact. We've learned some things. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like we're doing good things. Wait, what is that? Hey, I just saw something I never saw before. Everybody, the cheat is to the limit. There is a thing that I don't think we've ever looked at before.
The
Down
dented
there.
yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito and bullet holes in the.
I'm gonna leave. Do you see that? Oh, thank you, 30. What is that? There's something down there. What is it? What's down there? Can I, what? There's something down there. I want to know what it is. How do I figure out what it is? You can't just tell me there's something down there and then not. I would like you to know that I am. Okay, back from the art cop thing is doing well. Wait. The musty smell of a potato cellar in spring emanates from the air vent. Potato cellar. Oh, Hawkeye. Wait. Hawkeye, I need to show you something. Are you ready? Wait. came in the mail. So here is the gourd for the gourd banjo that I'm going to make. Inside this gourd packed up are like the peg heads and all of that. Here is the box came super damaged, but everything inside seems okay. Here's the neck. It's got like an old fretless old style neck. Here's a part of the inner, like one of the inner stabilizers that goes inside the gourd. And here is the head, or that I'm gonna have to put over the gourd. So the instructions on how to make it are online. So he made a video on how to do it, which I have not watched yet, but I wanted you to know, because you're the expert on these things, that I've got this gourd banjo, and not during the week, but maybe during the weekend, you know, I'm gonna make it. I'm not like a woodworker like you. I do not have your expertise, and I'm a little nervous, but I've always wanted a gourd banjo. That's like the earliest model that we know about, and if I can make it, then I'll have a gourd banjo. And it's a small. I got it. The kit was cheaper because the gourd is smaller than normal. But also, I was pretty lucky because the guy that sells these kits, you cannot buy them anytime you want to. You can only buy them when he has gourds. So like you have to just keep going to his website, and it'll be like, nope, no gourds, nope. It'll be like, we have 5. And then you can be like, oh, can I get one? And then like he will send it to you. But I've been like sort of just like low key stalking his website for a couple of years, and my timing was never right, and I just happened to get it, and I was like, oh, and then I got it, and this is, and I thought I'd tell you because you know about carpentry, you have got the skills, and I just thought I'd tell you that, like, ta-da. Scared, but the guy who sells the kits, he says it's not hard to do. So he says it's not hard, and I can follow instructions, so I guess it'll be fine, right? Ooh, yeah, it's the banjo. Yeah, fun building time ahead. I'm hardly an expert. Gourds are in season right now. Oh, a fall crop. Oh. So, this is me sending out energy saying, if Hawkeye thinks I can do it, then I can do it. That's my potato seller. That's what I got to say. That if Hawkeye says I can do it, then I can do it. Following instructions is how I've learned everything. Unrelated to the current discussion, but holy moly, that's a cool shirt. Oh, thanks. This is my Ren'Py shirt because I dabble in making visual novels. You know, I dabble in some Ren'Py programming. Oh, do I have an exciting facial expression there? I can see it. You have faith in me. Thank you, Hawkeye. By the way, Hawkeye, I'm going to tell you my progress. I'll tell everybody my progress, but you know, you're the like. Hawkeye is amazing with woodwork. That's like, I am very like, Hawkeye's one of those people that I think about. I'm like, oh man, Hawkeye's so talented. You know what I mean? Like, with everybody, like, you got different things to think about with everybody, and also like just such a decent human being. So anyway, I'm just like, Hawkeye. So yeah, senpai. That's all I'm gonna say. I was gonna, you know, Trooper says Ren'Py, which is clearly correct because the pi comes from Python, but in my head, I've always said Ren'Py, and so Ren'Py sounds okay. Krellin, I need you to know that I've always said Ren'Py as well. Always. Like, Ren'Py is just how I always said it, outside and also in my head. Then somebody's like, no, it's Ren'Py, and I was like, okay. And so I've been trying to say it Renpai because apparently that's how it's pronounced, and I don't want to seem like a goober. But in my head, it's still Renpy. Like Ren and Stimpy. Ren and Stimpy together gives you Renpy. So that's what's going on in my head. Like at all times. So by the way, we have something. We have items or interact. Okay, we bought these books. I don't know if these books are going to be awesome for us or not. I can't say. I don't know. I have the most innocent look on my face. Aw. Oh, you do need to post your latest sale. Because I love seeing your stuff. Hawkeye, I love it when you post photos of your stuff because I just think I think it's just really cool. OMG, Rimpy is totally Ren and Stimpy's illegitimate daughter. This is what I'm saying. It's Rimpy, right? This is what I'm saying. So it's hard for me to hear Renpai in my head. I say it because I'm supposed to, but it's not where my heart is, you know. I feel like maybe, so this is a book, The Greatest Innocence. This dusty tome brings knowledge on the history of innocences. It is written by one João Paulo Salomão Lopes de Fuego, a Mesque fascist, who tries to reach a conclusion on which of the innocences is the coolest in the world. Oh, there you go. Boom. I was showing the banjo. You know how it is?
The Greatest Innocence by João Paulo Salomão Lopes de Fuego. The book is large and heavy.
Speaking of Portuguese, you know how James Earl Jones died recently? Bummer. Also, Sergio Mendes died recently, and my mother loved Sergio Mendes in Brazil 66, and she actually met them, and they invited her to come on tour with them. But Lonnie Hall, who I don't think was married to Sergio Mendes at the time, was like, no, this woman is not coming on tour with us, because I think Sergio Mendes had a crush on my mother, and I do not think Lonnie Hall liked that idea in any kind of a way. So Lonnie Hall made sure that my mother did not go on tour with Sergio Mendes in Brazil 66. Anyway, but I grew up listening to the album Sergio Mendes in Brazil 66, which has, it's got like such amazing, like one of my favorite songs is Mais Que Nada. That's like a great one. Like that whole album is really good. Go listen to it. Yes. Oh, I sent you my September 1. It's kind of, oh, thank you. Oh, Dreamlands. Nice. I'm going to crack open this immense tome.
Browsing through the various chapters, you try your best to understand the ceaseless overflow, the sprawl of names, dates, places, events historical. Most of it ends up as a twisted mass of facts inside your brain.
Meh.
Your educational survey is done. Did you catch any of that? No. Oh well, it's pop quiz time. Let's see what you've learned. This might take a few minutes. You ready?
Sure, why not? We've got 20 minutes.
That's the spirit. Here we go.
Okay.
Question 1.
Okay.
Who was the first innocence? Oh yeah, this is what I was made for.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Hey, Artie, how are you? That's so. All right, go on. Give me all the hints you got.
A pop quiz is a short examination designed to test your knowledge without any prior warning or announcement. Such exams allow the teacher to assess how thoroughly the students have retained the material at hand. Voila. Now blast that first innocence.
All right.
Thanks for nothing.
I know, right?
Dolores Day. Dolores.
Yes. I actually don't think she was the first, but we're going to go with Dolores Day.
Incorrect.
knew
Dolores
it.
Day was the
I knew it.
innocence of humanism,
I knew that.
internationalism, and the welfare
She wasn't the
state.
first. I knew
She
that.
codified parliamentary democracy and created modern institutions. Among these, the moral intern. She was powerful and beautiful on all her icons.
The game was messing with me. I knew that, though.
Her colors are silver, white, and apricot.
Wait,
and when
apricot.
you think her name, Dolores, stomach acid rises to the back of your throat, and it hurts. You see a flash silver, a wreath, an airport bag,
Wait.
and blonde hair.
Wait.
You don't know why. Another choice, perhaps?
Wait. Apricot? Wait. Apricot? Wait. I think that my love was like my ex-wife. Hold on. Wait. Something's going on here, everybody. Dolores Day. It's just like Doris Day. Yeah. She codified parliamentary democracy and created modern institutions.
Steer clear of this one. There's something terrible about this one.
What?
A strange sensation of loss. When she left the earth, the dust, and the ice, and the humans. That is unimportant to the quiz. Stop thinking about this.
There's something important here, everybody.
Yes, the quiz
Okay.
is impersonal.
Right, fine.
No need to rouse sensations in yourself at the mention of Dolores Day. Who was the first innocence? It wasn't Dolores Day.
I think it might be the Pericarnassian.
Correct. Nothing much is known about him. It's not even clear that he was a he, but Franco Negro presumed as such and called him Pius. He's depicted as a young man with molten gold pouring out of his mouth. All he spoke was gold. It's said he invented God and equality of men before God. He also introduced the gold standard as a way for measuring people's love for Aurum.
I don't know about this guy. I actually don't know about any of these innocents, to be honest.
As the first innocence, he declared that there should be more of those like him. It is presumed his disciples were the beginning of the Holy Party, the founding party.
I've got questions.
Question 2.
Okay.
Who was the strongest innocence? Easy. Everybody knows the answer to this. You, me, anybody.
Okay, sure. Try again. I trust you've got my back.
An innocence is the highest category of historical personage in the world, a literal personification of history. Traditionally, an innocence, when anointed, assumes supreme rule over the Occident or the known world in general, at least the parts that matter.
Well, yes, but interesting, so interesting, but I thought you'd give me the answer to the question.
I can do better. Okay, so commonly, an innocence does not enforce his or her power through military power. This is seen as unnecessary. The innocence wins because an innocence can't help but win. For their deeds are inevitabilities. Did this help?
Yes, immensely.
Great. Dolores.
Look at me, I'm Sandra D. Hey, watch it, I'm Doris Day. I was not brought up that way. Won't come across, even Rock Hudson lost his heart to Doris Day. I don't drink, ew, or swear. I don't wrap my hair. I get ill from one cigarette. Keep your filthy draws off my... Keep your filthy paws off my silky drawers. Would you pull that crap with a net? As for you, Troy Donahue, I know what you want to do. I feel like Dolores Day is the most powerful of the innocents.
Incorrect again. While she originated many modern institutions, launched several successful expeditions, and was even critical of the innocentic system itself, and somehow keeps popping up in your mind.
Oh, yay!
She's not often considered the strongest.
Fine.
Even though the words most associated with her rule are l'amour, la compassion, la autodiscipline, love, compassion, self-control, which could be seen as facets of strength. Would you like to try again?
Sure.
Please, relax.
Okay. So we've got Vesper Messina and Franco Negro. But we know that you don't exhume your power through military strength, and Franco was the dictator of Spain, so we're going to go with Vesper Messina.
Incorrect. Vespa Messina is not a person, but a defunct state on the southeastern coast of the Occident. It used to take up most of the peninsula before separating into the republics of Vespa and Messina. Care to try again?
Franco Negro?
Correct. Named the innocence of militarism, he codified hereditary rule, but at the same time ended serfdom and established the Inter-Isolari Real as the global reserve currency. He also established the concept of the nation.
This game's world is so interesting. By the way, I've been talking to players about things in the Gamblers, the Traveler universe, and I was really trying to explain that monarchy is a very complicated subject in Traveler, because with the exception of some places like the old Sindalan Empire, but very often monarchy is not actually like the way that we think of monarchy. The monarchs of many of these places are more like administrative ambassadors, so that when it takes 2 years to get information from the center to the periphery or back again, you often cannot wait to send information. That's what happened with the second Imperium with the humans, right? The Terrans, pardon me, the Soleimani. It first started off as a democracy, but when people started getting attacked on the periphery and you'd have to go in to ask the Senate to make military requisitions for you, and it would take you 2 years to get there, and then they'd have to vote on it, and it would take 2 years to get back to you. And by that time, you've already been conquered. They decided they kind of couldn't have that system working, so they needed basically people local who were empowered to make decisions. So they had nobles, but the person who served the first emperor, right? They basically were not, especially from the Third Imperium, which also started as a democracy, was like an engineer, right? It was sort of like a bureaucrat, and so the monarchic system of the Third Imperium is, I mean, like basically you can be fired. Right? If you're the Duke of a place and you're not doing a good job, you can be fired and somebody else will take that job. So it's this kind of weird mix of I think the term they use is feudal technocracy. It's not exactly monarchism in the way that we understand it. It's a very tricky thing. That's all. You make this sunshine brighter than Dolores say. And I love that. And then also, thank you, Ten.
Franco Negro attempted to solve the rising tensions between the aristocracy and bourgeoisie by building a unified society in which every man has a place and a mission, but at the same time may rise to nobility provided on the strength of his virtue.
Also, Drynax is amazingly egalitarian. People are like, oh, monarchies are bad. It's like, but there's like super egalitarian, everybody's equal, because everybody's a noble on the floating palace. That their egalitarianism may not extend to people not on the floating palace.
Question 3. Who was the false innocence?
Oh.
Got it under control. No problem. Solid on this one. It's widespread historical information.
Right. I recognize the name Pasternak, but I don't think Pasternak was an innocent, right? We'll go with Pasternak, because I recognize the name. We've been playing for a while now, almost a year, probably a year. And so some of these things I probably should have remembered, but I feel like Pasternak? No, I'm going to do it.
Correct.
Yeah!
There have been a number of counter or false innocences. Some assumed to have innocentic qualities. Some who just thought so themselves. Occasionally, they have the support of a faction inside the ecclesiastic organization, and accusations of foul play have arisen.
Well, maybe it's not been a full year. Maybe it's been less than a year.
The most famous and important of these was Ernau Pasternak. He was into torture, despotism, hymns, cannons, and world conquest. but got defeated and humiliated by Stepan the Despicable of Kedra.
Interesting. By the way, there was an article that was out that was on the Rascal News, and a pal of mine let me see the whole thing. It was not very well written. It does not make a distinction between a war game and a tabletop RPG, and those two things are separate. And it made the claim that, like, TTRPGs are inherently militaristic because war games are so popular. And I was like, but they're not popular. People have not been playing Africa Corps or Squad Leader for a while. Like, people just say things and they're just not always true. Yeah, Artie's like, I don't think any of these innocents were all that innocent. I don't think so either.
Final stretch. You've come so far and learned so much. This is the most important one. Question 4. Who was the greatest innocence? The most important of them all. The most precious to humankind.
I need to play my banjo.
I've got it. Honest.
Yeah, it's Dolores. It's Dolores Day. Wait. Are you sure this time? I'll bite. Hint me, huh?
Of course, this is my thing. The
Sure.
reason I exist in this world. The correct answer is Franco Negro.
You're absolutely certain of this.
0 doubts.
Yeah, okay, but it's Dolores Day.
Correct. The Mesk might see Franco Negro as the father of nations, but as of this century, there's been a great shift in attitude. Dolores Day has become widely regarded as the greatest innocence. A most radical change to the whole fabric of the world.
The encyclopedia doesn't know what they're talking about. Wait, the first YouTube VOD was from April the 2nd, 2023, and we are not in April, so it's been a year. Okay, well, we're going to pretend like that's not true. La 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 la.
Everything from inter-esolary travel to the connected world to 3 consecutive scientific revolutions can be traced back to her. Every decade that passes, she seems less human somehow and more beautiful. Congratulations on finishing the test. The results and your subsequent grade have been calculated.
Okay.
You get
I get
a C, vaguely passable. A solid effort with nothing much else to show. Nice going, mediocrity man.
Well, I'm not going to complain about my grade.
You would have done better if you just left Dolores Day for the end. Dial the Dolores Day down a bit.
Damn you, you arrogant book.
What's going on with you?
The book is unfair.
Okay.
The lieutenant stares at me, his visage unflinching.
You are shouting at an inanimate object.
Sorry.
Like a real weirdo. No wonder
I know.
you seem to have trouble
Sorry.
with the right answers.
I'm going to put the book away. Everybody, that was amazing. Book. So, just some thoughts. We've got 2 more books to read, which we'll do next week, obviously. But also, we have our tape player, which we can use to play the tape and continue on with our mission. So I'm feeling really good about this. We continue, by the way, to have an empty thought that I'm too, what's the word? Indecisive to choose something to do. But we have, we have skills that we need to up, and all of them make me nervous. But we have so many things. You know what? I'm just not even, like, look at this. Hand-eye coordination, that seems not bad. We should talk to Joyce. We shouldn't talk to Joyce, but we should talk to Joyce. But we shouldn't. But we could. Well, that's all I'm saying. So we're here. Before we go, I feel like we should decide where we're going to set ourselves up for success for later, because I appreciate that quite a lot. I need a different tool. Well, let's pry bar, which is great. There we go. We'll just do that. Boom. I think we save. We'll save. Don't let me forget. the next time we play, we've got to go listen to that tape and then read some books. That's our life right now. Oh my gosh. Hey, everybody. It was a good saving time. I think it was. It was an arrogant book. It's been so nice to be back. I know that we chatted a little bit, and then I showed you the banjo, and we might have been chatting for like an hour. I feel like it was a bit less than an hour. I think we might have been chatting for an hour. But the point is that it was lovely chatting with you all. It was so nice. I missed you all. What's next? Well, what's next is, in case somebody wants to know, I did watch the last episode of Critical Role, so I'm caught up. So tonight, Critical Role, we'll be chatting in our Discord, so join the Discord. Also, tomorrow, which is Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, will be The Gamblers, our Traveler Pirates of Dry Necks campaign. We're going to start doing vignettes, like a la Good Society, as the people do the things they need to do before. There are a lot of events that are happening on Dry Necks because they've been away for a while. The professor needs to see the king. There's a banquet in honor of Val. The reporter wants to talk to them about what happened. The authorities want to talk to them about what happened. There might be a wedding. People might want to visit the surface of Dry Necks. There's stuff going on. And, oh my gosh, Rissa, funerals. There are going to be funerals. Hey, I'm going to tell you all something. So, the Pirates of Dry Necks is a campaign for Traveler, and it exists, and I have it, and you read it and all. But I have added so much to this. I've done so much world building. A lot of things that you see are things that I have sort of built up from there, and I've been thinking a lot about Dry Necks recently. Because my players are great, and they ask me questions, and they bring things up, and I've been thinking a lot about Dry Necks as a place. And there's only 70,000 people on that planet. The vast majority of them live on the floating palace, which was never meant to hold that many people. So let's say maybe 50,000 people on the palace and maybe 20,000 on the surface total. Death is a big deal. This is my decision. My decision is death is a really big deal on Dry Necks, as is birth. Because every death is a tragedy, because their whole world is on the brink of extinction. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Their population is so small. Everything is not working out, and if anybody dies, it's a loss to their numbers, to their viability for rebuilding who they are. And so the death of Lady and Lord Hill is a big deal for them culturally. And that's what I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about what is it like when your society has been stuck at a number like that for 200 years. Yeah, how's it working out for the pilot who slapped her mom as she fell dying? Yeah, well, so here's the thing. They were able to go and direct people like sniper, right? Sniper. The pilot missed the opportunity because this whole thing was set up to make the pilot, not the actual pilot, but like the evil warlord in the pilot's body, seem like a great, sympathetic figure, but the pilot teleported away. And so it did not get to have the body experience. And then that was gonna be Val who had the the bloody body. But Severance stopped the press from getting down there, so the press didn't get to see the big dramatic look at me with all of the blood and being heroic. So there's some kind of excitement there with that one, I will say. The evil warlord is not in their body, but the evil warlord's plan was to jump into that body when necessary. Unfortunately, Terika jumped into that body first, but the assassin thought that was the evil warlord, right? Because the evil warlord has plans. Has contingency plans. If I die, I'm going to jump into this body. So if I jump into this body, I need to make sure that this body is set up for success, give them a really good ship, make sure all the I's and T's are dotted, right? The evil warlord, when they jump into a new body, they don't want to be like a nobody. They want to be all set up for success. And unfortunately, it seemed like this was the evil warlord. I mean, unfortunately for the warlord. So the assassin who works for the warlord thought that this was their boss, right? Like, oh, my boss has arrived. Cool. Let me go and kill the mother, so the mother doesn't realize it's the evil warlord in the body of the child. But actually, it wasn't the evil warlord at all. It was actually it was the pilot. But again, the assassin doesn't know that. So the assassin thought it was the evil warlord, but it was not the evil warlord. It was the pilot. So, not everybody knows all the things. The evil warlord is indeed psionic. The evil warlord is like a couple thousand years old. The evil warlord is very dangerous and very powerful, but their minions don't always know all the things. Yeah. Is that why Lady Hill thought that Val was the one? No, okay, so Max, I'm going to tell you this. The Droin are not the Ancients in my campaign, right? So because there was a time when, like, it was unclear who the Ancients were, and now it's become canon that they're Droin. They're not. They are, like, they're different. But the evil warlord is an Ancient. The evil warlord is not the grandfather either. The grandfather does exist, but that is not the evil warlord. The evil warlord is one of the children of the grandfather, who is in hiding. So the evil warlord is one of the Ancients, and is one of the ones in the Ancients trilogy, ish. It's one of them. It has a name, but it's like a precursor to humans in their own way. Well, it's not that complicated, Krellin. It's just there were some miscommunications. That's what I'm going to say. There were some miscommunications because not all minions know all the things all the time. Like, it's you could think of it as like being like if there were like a common ancestor, if there's like a figure that was before the Droin and the humans, like a kind of like a figure that is pre those things, pieces of, you can think of it something like that. It's not just a human, that's not right. It's like an earlier sort of being. I have a name. It's Poop McDinglefart. That's the one. I think you've had a whole season since I last watched, since my Oh, yeah, that's fair. So, basically, yeah. Dinosaur Ancients. And this person is one of the Ancients, but is one of the Ancients that's not sleeping, hanging out, doing things, trying to do their stuff. Which is, I think, sort of alluded to in one of the new Ancients books. Anyhow, the other Ancients do other things to keep themselves alive. This Ancient does something else, has like a cloning process. They do a different thing, right? They do this because the process that the grandfather uses causes some instability, and so they were like, this is a much slower process. It takes a lot more, like, hands-on planning, but it's less, it results in less instability than the process that the grandfather uses. So they've got this thing, but it's just very slow. They've got a plan centuries in advance, and if things go poorly, they don't get to bounce back as easily, but more stable. Val's dad is throwing a banquet for him. That alone is complicated. Yeah. Maybe not great. Oh, thanks, Max. Boom. It's it's the what do you call it? The away screen. But actually, also, I don't need to be there. Quit. No sounds. Yeah. So it's I will just say it's Sharknado. Yeah. So some things have happened. But Krellin, the long and short of it is, it's season 2. They destroyed the lab with all of the the Severance clones that the ancient warlord, evil warlord, was using as his clone backups. And then in season 4, they destroyed the Terraka clone lab that the ancient warlord had as a second set of backups. So they have destroyed 2 different clone labs of the ancient warlords so far. Ancient warlord's not happy. Not happy. Sharknado! Do they know who's... Oh, they know. So, how he turned to paranoia. Well, I don't think that he is devoid of other backups. But the question is, what is the quality of those backups? Are they ready to be activated right now? And the answer, and so what we've learned is that he's got a lab with all, so like when he dies, he'll pop into one of these bodies. But in order to do that, he's got to charge up the Viridian seed by killing a couple hundred people to charge it with the energy, because that's a big deal. And then he's got to actually set up the thing so that, because if he dies, you can't have multiple clones set up to be receiving his psionic self, because that's bad. So you have to have one ready at any given time. And so he had the lab set up for that one. That lab was destroyed. So then he immediately went to the second lab, set that one up to receive him. Somebody scooped him. They destroyed that one. So he has got to go to the third lab, which means he's not going to be around for a bit, because he's got to go and murder a bunch of people to get his cloning process ready. And also the clones are not fully aged up yet. So he's not in a good spot right now. It's not in a good spot. And that's the PC's fault. They've messed up the ancient warlord's plots, and he doesn't like it. Teenage boss fight. Just saying. Because, and they've messed up the ancient warlords. He's not happy with them. That's all. That's all. So the ancient warlord can go into other bodies. That was done in Futurama. All they have to do is to protect themselves to make a tinfoil hats. The thing is, he does not go into, like, he engineers. Not anybody can take an ancient warlord and have it be useful. So he goes and does, like, he plans eugenics for quite some time. He's like, okay, I want this person to marry that person and have children. Then I'm going to make sure that this person marries that person and has children. And then this person has that person. I also want them to have money and power and influence, because that's important to me. So he messes with people for quite some time to get a body that he thinks is just right for him to go and jump into. He doesn't just jump into anybody. He's picky. He's an ancient. He doesn't want just any, like, rando. He needs a body that has psionic potential, strong and high psionic potential. Like, he's not going to jump into just like any body. Could you imagine? Oh, not at all. Okay, I'm going. Is it psionic transference or through, it's both. It's a psionic transference that is aided by a psionic machine. You kind of need, you need a lot of power for that kind of a thing. That's, you need a lot of psionic power for that. So they're amplifiers. Like the Harlock. Yep. I'm going to go eat. He can't just jump into other bodies willy-nilly. If he jumped into the wrong body, he'd be trapped there, and that would be bad, actually. Like, if he jumped into a non-psionic body, right? If he were somehow forced to jump into a non-psionic body that could not handle him, that would be real bad. That would be really, really bad for him. Maybe not for everybody else. Maybe it'd be great for other people, but it would not be good for him. So, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. The players do not know of this. They know they're realizing how long it takes for him to set up the bodies the way he wants. And they don't know that part. They haven't thought about that part yet, but that would be true. But they're like, he has, now again, he could always go the way the grandfather goes, which is fast, but as per canon, the second generation of grandfather's clones are not stable. And this particular ancient was like, I saw that, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go the fast way where I just clone myself over and over again, because that leads to instability and then rebellion and then wars. And I don't want that. So he's been very, very careful to do it the slow way, which means he's not going to deal with like unstable weirdnesses, but it also is slower for him. Okay, I'm going to go. I'm leaving. It could make a good trap. I'm going to go make food. I'll tell you about it in chat. I'm going to go. Everybody, thank you so much. You'll find me at The Gamblers tomorrow at 7 p.m., noon on Saturday for Rain World. Woo-hoo-hoo. And then Wednesday will be Good Society at 8 p.m. over at Laugh Love Lindy's channel. And it may be the last session of it may be the last it may be the finale, or it might not be. It might be the finale. It really depends on how much the players get into it. If the players just grab that RP for all it's worth, and it might be the penultimate episode. We will see. But I'm going to go, and I will see you, in 20 minutes on the Critical Role. I'm going to go heat up some food. All right, I'm going to talk to y'all later. Yes, and I'm still going to be in that Halloween Call of Cthulhu game. Everybody, I'll catch you later. I'm not raiding because I got to go make food. So I will catch you on the flip side. Bye, everybody.